critical builds falling behind and going over budget. News Corp reports Australia has more than 24 major defence projects running an accumulative 97 years late. A new plan is expected to see defence spending rise to $80 billion a year by 2032. Researchers have found there could be a host of positives for children conceived via IVF. Brady Evans has the details.
As more families turn to fertility treatment to have babies, a new study claims children conceived via IVF are more responsible and better behaved. Researchers from the University of Western Australia have also found IVF-conceived children may perform better in school. Teenage girls born through IVF were found to have a lower body mass index, thinner skin folds and less subcutaneous fat, although boys showed no real difference. One child in every Australian classroom is now born via IVF.
A valuable Picasso has escaped undamaged after climate protesters glued their hands to the artwork at the National Gallery of Victoria. The protesters were arrested and later released without charge. The painting is protected by Perspex glazing. Police have released more details about the 10 people killed in a massive explosion at an Irish petrol station. Those killed in the accident include 2 teenagers and a 5-year-old. A man in his 20s remains in a critical condition in a Dublin hospital. Superintendent Liam Geraghty says the tragedy has touched everyone in the tight-knit community.
I'm sure the community will come together and will support each other. An Garda Síochána are also here to help them, as are all the other state agencies, and I know the Health Service Executive have put in extra supports for the local communities. There will be supports in the local schools over the coming weeks. It is going to take time.
Now to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And it's good morning to Jace Kemp.
And a very good morning to you, Mel. Let's start with cricket. And England has defeated Australia by 8 runs in last night's first T20 in Perth. David Warner top scored with 73 off 44 balls. Despite his heroics, the Aussies fell just short.
Oh, no disputing that one. And Australia fall 8 runs short.
Meanwhile, the Redbacks' Shield opener against Victoria ended in a draw. To tennis, Novak Djokovic has told Tennis Australia he wants to return to Melbourne for the Oz Open next year. Christine O'Hearn reports.
Australian Open boss Craig Tiley wants Novak Djokovic back. Djokovic wants to play, so it will be up to the Australian government if he is going to compete at the Open in January. The tennis champion's visa was cancelled by the previous government after he arrived in the country, deporting him on character grounds for being an anti-vaxxer. It means he could be banned for 3 years for re-entering the country, but the federal government is reportedly open to granting him a visa. As of July this year, unvaccinated visa holders no longer have to get an exemption to enter Australia.
To racing, and Red Bull's Max Verstappen has secured his second world title after taking out the Japanese Grand Prix, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished 11th. Well, finally in the NBL, the Tasmania Jack Jumpers defeated the Bullets by 4 points. They'll now face the 36ers in Adelaide on Thursday night. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 22 today, a shower or two developing tomorrow, 24, Wednesday showers and 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Big Monday show ahead as well today. We'll be crossing live to Bathurst after 6:30. People may or may not know this. Our very own Sam Daddo is or perhaps the Bathurst enthusiast of Australia. It's a family tradition, goes there each and every year. No better report you'll hear this morning than our Sam after 6:30. We'll be talking to him about the big race yesterday. Then a little bit later in the morning, we're going to be talking to the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch. Talk to him about the Stage 3 tax cuts that it felt like the world's biggest kite flying exercise earlier this week, where government ministers were going out saying, not sure it's going to happen, and tough economic times. Huge blowback. Phil Curry was among those that said, listen, this was an election promise, and history's look dimly upon those that have walked back ironclad promises like this, and it seems like they're going to hold on now. So we'll talk about the economics of that with Koshi after 8:30 today. We'll be crossing to Samri for some really important research they're doing there a little bit later, and heading off to the US as well for the latest on the conflict in Ukraine, which has taken another dramatic turn over the course of the weekend, but we'll get into that just before 7 o'clock. David Pemberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm looking forward to catching up with Sam because he's done the big road trip. He left on Wednesday. Wednesday was his last show. He was off Thursday.
He gets there for Thursday.
Yeah. But he did the drive in 2 parts. We had a big discussion about it because I like planning road trips. I could spend hours just looking at the map. And these days you do it all online. But I've still got all these old road maps, touring maps of Australia out in the back room, but you don't look at them anymore because, Google Maps is so much easier to use, calculates times and distances, and you can put in alternate routes and so forth. But he drove Adelaide to Hay, and then Hay to Bathurst. And I was saying, mate, go the extra half hour, go Adelaide to Griffith, because Griffith in the Riverina has got one of the best Italian restaurants in Australia.
I would have bet my life that the reason for your elongated detour was going to be there are better food options that way.
It's got a pretty murky history too to that restaurant. Not that it's a reflection on the owners, but it's the last place poor old anti-drugs campaigner Donald Mackay was seen before he disappeared.
Oh wow!
Having his final pizza at La Scala Pizzeria e Ristorante, but no, Sam went the Hay route. Don't know what you get to have for dinner in Hay. Probably a cannery. Not much. It's not really a gastronomic.
I can say I've never been to Hay.
I reckon everyone in South Australia's been to Hay or been through Hay. If you drive to Sydney,
I've never driven to Sydney.
You've never driven to Sydney?
I've never driven to Sydney.
Really?
No.
Well, if you've never driven to Sydney, you've probably got no real need to go to Hay.
No, that's right.
I wouldn't just say... he's from Hay? Glenn McGrath.
Is that right?
He's from Hay, yep. But, yeah, so Sam's a total rev head, been there for 4 days. Apparently it's like a Dado family tradition.
Every year.
You know what I can't for the life of me understand? How is it that Holden is not going to exist anymore as a brand? How much could General Motors... They could not have stuffed it up more if they tried. Because if you think about Australia, more than half of the Australian population, probably 70% of the Australian population, only one generation ago, was hardwired into believing that as an Australian you had to buy a Holden. So you've got a country of 26 million people, about 14 million of whom want to buy one of your cars. I own 2 Commodores. The first car I bought myself was a big boaty, bright red station wagon that I bought in about 1999, maybe a bit later. And then through work I got a Bellina. Did you ever own a Commodore?
No, I've never had a Commodore.
Did your family have one?
No, we actually had a Ford, I think. Was the closest we got to that when I was younger, but then it was all people movers from that point on.
I suppose, yeah, you'd need them. But I think I would be stunned if less than 25% of 5AA listeners didn't own a Commodore at some point in their life. How do you destroy a brand like that?
What does it say about the economics of car sales globally that you can willingly sacrifice, what did you say, effectively 14 million potential customers? Like, how small fry are we in the General Motors business model that they've just said, yeah, we can... It's actually not worth it to us to bother with this division any longer, or to continue that brand. I mean, what's
part of it is appetite's changed a lot.
That's right, but you've facilitated and fast tracked it if you've just said, well, it doesn't exist anymore. So, but I wonder what is the ongoing cost of carrying a brand? The stationery, the signage. Like, they're not making them here, so they're all coming off machines elsewhere anyway.
Yeah.
So just to keep the brand going, I struggle to understand the economics of that, saying 14 million potential customers if you keep the stationery effectively. No, it's not worth it. How is it not worth it? It blows my mind.
Because I reckon it was about 1980, around about 1980 when the Commodore was launched. And that was like, I can remember being at high school, just starting high school, and everyone was talking about it. It was like a really exciting thing. There was from memory, the L, the SL, and if you're really cashed up, the SLE. But you know what? Like, whenever I get into a Commodore now, because I've got some, my mother-in-law's got a Commodore, Sam here's got a Commodore. You get into the back seat of a Commodore as a passenger, and you think, I'd happily drive to Melbourne in this thing. Like, you feel like you're, the leader of the free world. You got so much leg room. It's terrific.
It is sad. Last time they'll be competing at Bathurst.
There's some Commodores too. There's one that was accidentally made so stupidly fast. My ex-wife's dad had one. I used to love driving that thing. It just took off like a rocket. Weighed a ton too. Brilliant car.
Maybe everything you just said is a sign of what's changing. Big cars going fast is sort of...
Oh, no. It's sad, isn't it? The death by SUV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy Clarkson wrote a really good column. He reviewed can't remember what it was, but the thing is, neither can he. He reviewed it, and it was from like quite a noted mark, like might have even been Mercedes or something, but it was some new 5 available in the 5/7 seat model family SUV, and he said this is just like I might as well have a free vasectomy driving this thing. Like it's just sad.
14 minutes after 6. We've got some news headlines coming up for you in just a moment. 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us also. Automasters text line 0448 08 1395.
Get a read on local dining. Get a read on when the sun will be shining. Get a read on today with The Advertiser. And enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
Fancy a wine? You'll find a huge hand-picked selection at your local independent SA family liquor store, FIVEAA. Or if you fancy a beer, you'll find the very best local, imported and craft beer at FIVEAA too. But if you fancy spirits, you'll find whiskies, gins and liquors for all tastes at FIVEAA. And you'll find friendly service and advice too. Whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor stores for over 45 years.
If you want a retaining wall that will last through searing summers, wet winters and everything in between, you must use concrete sleepers from Outback Sleepers.
They're perfect for building a retaining wall or garden edging, and they come in a variety of patterns and colours.
Outback Sleepers are the strongest concrete sleepers on the market and come with a 35-year product warranty. And once you put that in, it's there for a lifetime. So if your builder's not using Outback Sleepers, you need to be asking why not.
That's right. Get stuck into them. In the last 20 years, this SA company has made more than 3 million Outback Sleepers. And that's because they last for generations, and the company that makes them, they only make concrete sleepers and nothing else.
If you want to get your hands on some, ask for the brand Outback Sleepers, sold at over 60 local landscaping and hardware stockists. Look online at outbacksleepers.com.au.
It's easy to say, they don't make bars like they used to. If you haven't been to 722, that is. 722 has all your favourite classic meals at genuine affordable prices made the way you know and love. There's plenty of room for big family get-togethers or catch-ups with an old mate or two. With great meal specials, classic frothies on tap and friendly community atmosphere. Why wouldn't you? Come along for a bite at 722 Bar and Bistro, Port Road, Beverley.
Is it possible to create tomorrow's car today? Hyundai believes so. Take the Tucson, Hyundai's midsize SUV, featuring a revolutionary look, intuitive interior, advanced tech, and safety. You can enjoy all this in the Tucson Turbo Diesel all-wheel drive. Available now. Tomorrow's car is here today. Hyundai Tucson, in stock now. Visit Hyundai.com.au. Imagine that. Hyundai.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
16 after 6. Kim said Holden Gemini was my first car. Going to be a lot of people with Holden's first car. Talking about the Gemini. I was going to say future of Holden. There is no future of Holden after Bathurst yesterday. 8223 0000 or the text on the Automasters text line. Rita says, Dad worked at GMH Woodville. We had a Kingswood and 2 Commodores. I now drive an Astra and it's good, but I missed my last Commodore. Wally the Walnut says, well done Holden, but what a crying shame. No more HQ and HZ. Holdens are a go. Wally the Walnut. Thank you for that. Well, let's get into the news headlines on this Monday, the 10th of October, the eldest daughter of convicted murderer Chris Dawson has broken her silence about the night of her mother's disappearance. Dawson was found guilty of murdering his first wife, Lynette, 4 decades after she vanished from Sydney's northern beaches. Chanel Dawson has revealed to 60 Minutes what she told police about the night her mother went missing.
I believe I saw him shining headlights on a spot near the pool and digging.
So when you say you saw him digging, I mean, your memory is of shovels.
Being pulled out of the back of the car and headlights and digging.
I watched that last night. I thought it was amazing. The worst thing that guy did, aside obviously from murdering his wife, was what he said to his daughters, aged 4 and 2, and your mum's run off. And for years, even they had the record of the interview he did with the police. The police, total laggards on that front in handling this case, apart from that one detective who championed it all along. But he was going, nah, she ran off, she joined some cult. You know, and as his daughter said, it's like he actually got to the point where he believes all of this himself. Amazing.
A man has been reported for extreme speed at Strathalpin. His Holden was clocked doing 188 k's in a 100 zone. 188.
What a half-wit.
Well, his wife and 3 children, all under the age of 5,
in the car.
Were all in the car.
You're joking.
33-year-old will front court at a later date.
See, now, the problem with the way the system works is at some point that guy will get his licence back. He shouldn't get his licence back ever. There's no explanation for that.
Why? We treat it like it's
Unless
a human right.
You're being chased by a nuclear missile or something.
Yeah, there's no...
Trying to outrun a rocket grenade or something like that. But there's no explanation for it.
It's not in the UN Declaration of Human Rights that you should have a driver's licence, is it? It's not a fundamental right to life, is it?
No.
So why do we treat it like it is?
Yeah, it's crazy.
To Victoria, 2 men have been arrested after Australian Border Force officers uncovered more than 300 kilos of liquid MDMA hidden in wine bottles imported from France. The illicit drugs are worth tens of millions of dollars. They were found inside air cargo. The Melbourne men, both aged in their 20s, were charged after police tracked the consignment to a self-storage facility. The maximum penalty is life imprisonment. Australia is expected to spend $80 billion a year on major defence projects by the year 2032. The Advertiser is reporting that spending will include new offshore patrol vessels, advanced aircraft and better communication systems. Under the plan, current projects will be closely monitored under a crackdown to stop critical builds falling behind schedule and going over budget. The Oz has some reporting on both those points this morning as well. I guarantee you it'll be more than $80 billion we spend by 2032. The nature of the world at the moment, where things are going, what we think is a lot today will not be what we think is a lot in about 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Without being particularly dark about it, I just think that's the nature of these things.
The other good thing about working in defence is it seems to be the one sort of area where you've got all these retired defence boffins sort of sitting on all these committees going, it's going to cost a little bit more now.
Yeah.
E.g. at the Collins-class subs.
Defence is like health because no one wants to be the guy saying, there's no comeback when someone says, oh, okay, so what? Which patients do you want us not to see? Or okay, so how much less safe would you like our soldiers or Navy or seamen to be? Yeah. No one wants to be on the other side of that equation. It's a hard sell. Corgi owners have descended on Buckingham Palace to honour the late Queen. Owners took part in a parade to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II. Parade organiser Agatha Crerar-Gilbert says corgis have grown in popularity since Her Majesty's death.
Previously I was asked, what kind of dog is it? Is it a fox? Is it a dog? Is it a mix? Is it a German Shepherd mixed with something? Now, immediately, instantaneously, I'm talking, oh, this is the Queen's dog.
I wonder if we've got any corgi owners that listen.
There would be.
5AA Breakfast.
You know the most incongruous corgi owner in Australia? Mark Latham. He loves them.
Well,
isn't that the most poorly matched dog to human?
I don't know what that says about man or dog in that scenario.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Hey, Joe, the cloth cheddar informant on the Automasters text line, he's corrected me. Glenn McGrath was born in Dubbo, not Hay. Well, he's got some connection to Hay. Maybe he just goes hunting there.
Loved Hay, maybe.
Yeah. Burke, Hay.
Just a hay enthusiast.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Top of 22 expected today. We have a pretty reasonable sort of a looking Monday. The rest of the week, though, gets a bit wet. Tomorrow, 24 and up to a mil of rain. That's nice. Wednesday, 17 and up to 8 mils. Thursday, 16 and up to 8 mils. Friday, 18 up to 5 mils of rain. And then Saturday 18 and clear, Sunday 21 and clear. So some pretty reasonable sort of rain coming up. Stewie in Manapara's called in. Morning to you, Stewie.
Good morning, gents. How are we?
Good, thanks, Stewie.
Yeah, I had a corgi when I was a kid from about the age of 6 until I think he lived about 12 years with us.
Yeah, right.
Believe it or not, he was a rescue dog from the RSPCA.
Really?
Yeah, someone had kicked him in the ribs and they found him, and yeah, he was a bit timid, but we took him up. I was living in Newcastle, took him to Goulburn to the wine ring because they had one of those open days, family days sort of thing. And as soon as we kicked the ball, that dog was playing soccer. It could actually tackle people playing rugby league. It would actually hit between your legs and tackle you. As soon as we got it home the first time, we opened his back gate up. He went straight to a tennis ball and brought it straight back. It just had that personality. It had ticklish feet. You could actually put him on his back, or he'd get down with his paws in front. You go to tickle his feet, he'd growl and put his nose in front of it.
That's funny. What was his name, Stewie?
Sam.
Sam
He's
the
the
corgi.
best dog I've ever had.
Oh, that's good.
He's definitely the best.
Good, Stewie. Like it. Happy to hear from corgi enthusiasts this morning. The corgi, a renaissance
Rest
with
in
the
peace,
passing of
Sam.
the Queen. Good on you, Stewie. Thank you. Let's talk sport. Rennie's off. He's got a much-deserved week off, our Tom Wren. Gliderol Garage Doors adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Lots of sport over the weekend, so we'll whip through as much as we possibly can, starting with the Crows. Girls victorious in the AFLW.
Of hands, Martin's lurking, and now Gould has already kicked one and slams through another. So you need someone to stand up. You know Chelsea Randall will do it.
Crows AFLW side every single year does this routine where it's like when the Terminator gets shot and you go, oh, it's slowed up a little bit, and then no, it's just warming up. And they start slow and then they just start looking irresistible. 7-7-49, 18-point victors over Fremantle.
Chelsea Randall, I reckon.
Oh, my word.
She is just such a great football player.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was massively one-sided in terms of experience. That goal she kicked in the showdown the other Friday, her performance in the first half of that game, it was just like, right, let's kill them. Like, it was just brutal. Unbelievable to watch.
Worth their weight in gold, footballers like that too, because you can put her down back, she can play a kick behind, you can play her on the ball, you can go forward and kick goals like she has been doing this year. Port Adelaide, speaking of kicking goals or not, it was bad kicking that cost them against Hawthorn. They went down by 13 points, 4-5-29 to 1 goal 10-16. Bad kicking, bad footy. That's disappointing, but enough scoring shots to have won it. So promising signs for a side, of course, that continues to debut players in large number each and every week. In the A-League, Adelaide United escaped with a draw against Wellington Phoenix. They dominated the game. I watched it, scored an equaliser in the 92nd minute through Ben Halloran, who's returned to the squad this year from Korea, I think he was playing in. The better side all game, so much so they were better side in the first 30-odd minutes. Wellington Phoenix went down to 10 men and actually played better when they had won fewer people out there. Bizarrely, a bit of complacency perhaps creeping in for Adelaide United, and ultimately they had to scramble and get a point. So 1-1 was the final score over there in Wellington. Speaking of one and Formula One, Max Verstappen has won himself a second world title. That means he's now, he's already was one of the 34 drivers that have ever won the Formula One world title. There are 16 of those that have done it twice. He now moves into that category. Totally bizarre situation, though, at the Japan Grand Prix, whereby he was told he'd won the world championship by the reporter who was interviewing him after the race, because no one was sure whether the full points would count. The race was stopped because of rain, and the rulings from FIA are if it's stopped and they don't come back, they start changing how many points are ultimately awarded. But because they came back, they said, no, this race counts in full.
Duckworth-Lewis.
Effectively, well, it was like they were expecting Duckworth-Lewis, and they went, no, that's just the score. So he won it. It was totally bizarre. One of the most dangerous, Formula One, and I think to its benefit, because you don't want to watch a race and be on edge wondering if someone's going to die like it was for, the 70s and 60s, 70s and 80s. It's better now, but that was dangerous. It felt dangerous watching that yesterday. The spray from vehicles affecting drivers behind them. They showed some of in the cockpit vision. Visibility was zero.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly had the situation where he almost hit a truck a truck that was on the track removing a broken down car. And you see it the way he saw it, which is to say, at the very last second, you realise he's passing a truck. And he went off his tree after and said, people have died doing this way in the past. How in the hell was there a truck out on the track and I wasn't told about it? The whole thing it made compelling viewing, but geez, it was edge of your seat sort of stuff.
I didn't know you were in a motorsport, mate. Did you watch it?
I like Formula One, yeah.
Right.
I don't get it. The time difference these days makes it too difficult to follow as closely as I used to, but I do like it. Now, people will go, what about Bathurst? We have our man on the ground in Bathurst, Sam Daddo, and we'll be crossing to speak to him after the 5AA news at 6:30 to get a wrap of what transpired at the top and bottom of the mountain. Check out Gliderol Garage Doors' new Timberlook Native Series sectional doors, gliderol.com.au.
They say every lawn is different, and that's true. But for landscapers, the solution is always the same. Install Rainbird. Backed by 80 years of irrigation innovation, easy to use with a massive range suitable for any job. From Tom's backyard to your local golf course to the MCG itself. So while every lawn is different, installing Rainbird gives you the same green results every time. Rainbird, the intelligent use of water. Learn more at rainbird.com.
APIA is offering a 10% discount on new comprehensive car or home insurance. Because the more you save, the more you can enjoy retirement. Like taking salsa classes. That's APIA value. Call APIA today on 13 50 50 to discover even more ways to save. T's and C's apply. Offer available until 30 October 22. Some optional extras excluded from discount. APIA is an authorised representative of AAI Limited, the product issuer. Read the PDS before buying this insurance. Call for copy. TMD also available.
Don't let the minutes tick by because the feel-good sensation 9 to 5 the musical is now playing at the Adelaide Festival Centre.
This West End smash hit is earning rave reviews. The Advertiser calling it hilarious, fun and everything you want.
The show's an absolute showstopper, full of rip-roaring Dolly Parton songs, knockout choreography and, of course, a stellar cast.
We've actually interviewed quite a few of these people.
Yeah.
It features the best in the business, Marina Pryor, Eddie Perfect, Casey Donovan, Erin Clare, plus Carolyn O'Connor.
The story is great entertainment, pure gold carrot fun. It's on for 4 weeks only, so don't let the minutes tick by. Be in quick. Book now at 9 to 5themusical.com.au.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? To the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
Brick, block, pave and save. Stack, lay, pattern and play. The look, the quality, the range. Luton.
Right now, you can save up to 25% off quality Lutum, formerly Boral Masonry, bricks, blocks and pavers at your local Lutum reseller.
The range. Luton. The look, the quality, the range.
Save up to 25% off at your Lutum reseller today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
The MFS is reminding us to never leave cooking unattended after a house fire at Davern Park. The blaze in a Coventry Road kitchen sparked around 7:30 last night. The resident evacuated safely. A Holden has been clocked almost 90 k's over the speed limit in the hills. It happened at Strathalbyn late yesterday. The car was travelling at 188 in a 100 zone. A 33-year-old man was behind the wheel, along with his wife and 3 young children. He's been reported and summoned to face court at a later date. The Albanese government is poised to bolster defence spending, announcing close to $70 billion worth of major projects ahead of the October budget. The spending will include new offshore patrol vessels, advanced aircraft and better communication systems. Under the new plan, the government will be spending more than $80 billion a year on defence by the year 2032. A national monkeypox forum will be held tonight, and the organisers are encouraging at-risk groups to tune in. 67,000 cases have been reported worldwide, 136 of those in Australia. Heath Painter from the Australian Federation of AIDS Organisations wants to equip people with the tools to stay safe.
This is a very effective vaccine. So the vaccine will help Australia to prevent a major outbreak, and what we want is for as many gay and bisexual men to go and get vaccinated.
Today is World Homeless Day. Charity and support groups are gearing up for a significant increase in people who need help to survive as economic pressures increase. The Salvation Army's Major Brendan Nottle says affordable accommodation is becoming harder for many to secure, and they're dealing with a new wave of homeless Australians.
Many of those people are new to our service because there's significant economic downturn and people are finding it really, really hard. What we're concerned about is we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg at the moment, where we're seeing new faces, but we think we're just seeing the trickle of what potentially could be a tsunami of need that's coming our way.
Ukrainian authorities say dozens of people have been killed in the southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia. The BBC's Hugh Bashega is in Kiev.
The Ukrainian military has described this attack as a cynical attack, and Zaporizhzhia has become a frequent target by Russian forces. It is a major city in the south of the country, relatively close to the front lines. And I think the fear yesterday was that the Russians could go ahead with some kind of major attack in response to the attack on the Crimea bridge, and we're seeing that overnight Zaporizhzhia was again attacked. Another residential area hit in this city.
Jury selection begins today in Los Angeles, where disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein is facing trial on rape and sexual assault charges. The 70-year-old is already serving a 23-year sentence on similar charges in New York. 5 women are expected to give evidence at the trial that could last 8 weeks. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Jace Kemp.
Thank you, Mel. To cricket first, and Australia has fallen 8 runs short against England in the first T20 in Perth. Nathan Ellis was the top wicket taker with 3 for 20. Aussie skipper Aaron Finch full of praise for the 28-year-old.
He's a fantastic bowler. He's done it at domestic level. He's done it every chance he's got for Australia. He's nailed it. The fact that he keeps fronting up, and every time he gets an opportunity, he trains the house down and he executes. He's just a brilliant person to have around the team.
To racing, and Max Verstappen has secured back-to-back driver championships after taking out the Japanese Grand Prix. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished 11th. Despite the wet conditions, Ricciardo enjoyed the race.
I felt okay in the conditions. You know, to be honest, although it was 11th, I was having fun. It's not normally as fun when you're outside the points, but I enjoyed the challenge of it. So yeah, I felt like we had a bit to show, but probably more about tyres and managing them, which is where we maybe fell a bit short as well.
Meanwhile, Shane van Gisbergen and Garth Tander have given Holden a fairy tale farewell at Mount Panorama, the pair taking out the Bathurst 1000 for the second time in 3 years. To soccer, and Cristiano Ronaldo has reached another milestone in his remarkable career, scoring his 700th club goal against Everton just moments ago.
And he's on the same wavelength as his old Real Madrid teammate Ronaldo, and that is goal number 700 of his club career for Manchester United's number 7.
Yeah, incredible stuff. His goal securing the win for Manchester United, while Arsenal defeated Liverpool 3-2 in the EPL. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 22 today, a shower or two developing tomorrow, 24, Wednesday showers and 17. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
24 to 7. Cars and corgis in the first half hour of the program this morning. What a master's text line. Jane with a Y with a picture of her Winston, which is a corgi, not a Holden, as it turns out, from the shelter that passed away some 10 years ago. Thank you, Jane. The corgi has a surge in popularity with the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. You can send through your pictures, and I'm sure people love to see them on the Facebook and YouTube live stream, thanks to Foodland Supermarkets. Text through about cars as well, and Holden, given the last Bathurst that Holden are going to feature at. We might pick up some of those texts in just a moment, because we're going to cross to, I think, Australia's foremost V8 supercar analyst, our very own Sam Daddo, who is, of course, producer extraordinaire here on the program, but makes the annual pilgrimage to the mountains. Sam, good morning to you.
Morning, boys. How are we?
We're good, Sam. How are you going, mate?
To be honest, quite cold. Currently sitting in the Cowra Macca's car park, so about 100 k's away from Bathurst, but packing up this morning, -3 with ice on the car. Not the greatest.
That whole part of New South Wales, you couldn't pay me enough to live there. Bathurst, Blamey, Orange, it is always sub-Arctic temperatures.
Yeah, Bathurst is a lovely place to visit, I'll just say that. Not so much to live.
Did you actually get the car out of the bog? Because you had a bit of rain over the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what you heard over the weekend, but I did actually bog my car Saturday morning.
Oh, no.
Saturday, we had about 30-odd mils in Bathurst. If you note, the top 10 shootout was cancelled, which is the first time in years. I think 20 or 30 years it happened. So it's a very South Australian sort of a story, though, because it was half to do with rain, but also there was a burst water main near the track, which was pumping water onto the track, and there was basically causing a flowing river across where we were sitting at turn one. So, yeah.
Hey, Sam, before we talk about the race, where do you say...
No, I didn't go to Griffith.
You didn't go to Griffith, I know. No. I was texting you. Disappointing that you didn't. But do you guys camp? What's your setup accommodation-wise?
So I've got a swag. Brother's got a swag. Mum and Dad have a caravan. And we normally have people who join us from Queensland, and they either tent it or swag. So it was my brother and mine. It was our 20th trip this year. My dad's 19th, and for all of those 20, we've only stayed in like a motel accommodation twice.
That's hardcore.
That's doing it the right way. All right, well, take us through the on-track action. Wrap the weekend for us.
So, it started off absolutely chaotic. There was a bunch of co-drivers which normally start the race, and normally every other year, co-drivers will have a precursor to Bathurst, which is the Sandown 500. Now, due to COVID, hasn't been a Sandown 500, cost cutting. So this is basically their first time in a year hopping into the car. And you'll note that the first lap, there was a crash basically after the first corner. Then a couple of laps into it afterwards, Zane Goddard got out of control heading into the chase. Now, you got to remember, everything off track at the moment is basically water. It's slick. You're not going to stop. He's come off the track. Instead of slowing down like you probably should have and take caution, he's basically blazed back onto the track, and this has occurred.
Next track condition-wise, this is an bad rejoin, and another huge incident on the exit of the chase. And so this is going to be a disaster. Zane Goddard has driven back out on the road with 30 tyres and clean bowled a heap of cars, including Winterbottom, including car number 8, Dale Wood, and one of the Penrite cars in this. It's an unbelievable scene.
So he's taken out Matt Campbell in the Penrite car, Dale Wood in the Brad Jones racing car, completely out of control, stupid mistake, rookie mistake. A couple more of them did happen across the day, but then it did settle down. Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander for Red Bull Racing, they were dominant all weekend, even with a bit of a hiccup in qualifying where Shane Van Gisbergen received a 3 grid place penalty for taking out another sort of a rookie error for someone of his calibre, which was a bit weird, taking out the Brad Jones Racing Commodore of Macaulay Jones. But overcoming the 3-place grid penalty, coming back and basically dominated the end of the race. Chaz Moster and Cam Waters looked like they were dicing at the end, but basically Shane Van Gisbergen drove away and it was all his.
Sam, are you guys like a Holden family? Were you there? Do you barrack for Holden every year?
So myself and my brother are Holden. Dad is Ford.
Seriously?
So I personally go for Nick Percat as the old South Australian born and led. Yeah. He's my guy. My brother was a Mark Scaife sort of a guy. Scaife retired. He basically jumps around. He just loves a good race. I still go for Percat. Dad just wants any Ford to beat the Holdens.
You were listening in a little bit earlier. David and I were trying to piece together the economics of Holden's decision to pull out of the country, given this renewed focus on it with the Be the Last Bathurst they'll be competing at yesterday. You made an interesting point, though, texting in about what their explanation is for why it all transpired, and I think it's worth registering here.
Yeah, my recollection and understanding back then was GM were pulling out of all right-hand drive markets, and basically most of the world is left-hand drive. So I think it's here and the UK where they're major exporters of where they were having to either have their own plants building right-hand or converting right-hand drive. So Ryan Walkinshaw from Walkinshaw Performance, he at one point was bringing in the Camaros and the big F-150s, converting them to right-hand drive from left-hand drive, but that would add another 15 to 20 grand on top of the sticker price. So basically, GM pulled out of here because it was costing too much. Not big enough return, but where they can just export their left-hand drive vehicles basically all over the world.
It's great information, and it's a great report. Drive back safely, stay warm, and we look forward to you coming back. You back on deck tomorrow morning?
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Good stuff, Sam.
Good on you, Sam. Drive
Work.
safe.
Sam Daddo, our 5AA breakfast producer.
See if you can go to Griffith
car
tonight.
correspondent.
Should go to Griffith tonight. Oh, no, actually, he's got to be back at work tomorrow. Yes, no.
That's the focus. Let's do some text. Automaster's text line. Corgis and cars, there's plenty of both coming through.
I like this one from Sue and Christie's Beach. She sent through a link to a Facebook site called Disapproving Corgis. And it's just got...
Are they judgmental dogs,
They are. Look at
they?
the photo of that dog. It's just sitting there going, now.
It does look unimpressed.
What are you up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you thinking? Thanks for that, Sue. One here from Jane with a Y. Oh, look at this cute little guy. She sent a picture through of her beautiful Winston. She says, this is our beautiful Winston. We got him from a shelter, but he sadly passed away 10 years ago. Thanks for that, Jane. This is a funny text. Joe says, hey, lads, if ever there was a Holden car that went from being an elitist car to a Bogan's car in record time, it was the Holden Statesman. If you saw one 20 years ago, you thought the person was elite. Now when you see one, it's, I wonder what deal they're going off to make. That's a bit harsh on Statesman owners. But Joe is dead right. Like, my mum and dad had a Statesman for a while. It was second hand. But you got into it, and you're like, whoa.
Oh, la-di-da.
King of the castle. King of the castle.
All right, let's check traffic. Secure the last two-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Good morning. Look out for a smash today at Happy Valley. That's on Happy Valley Drive near Manning Drive. Other roadworks to keep in mind on the drive-in today. Got lane closed. Port Road near Phillip Street in the city. Speeds are down to 40 k's there. Works are continuing Upperstead Road near Hawthorne D Drive. That's down to 40. And we've got works at Fullerton for the intersection upgrade of Fullerton Road and Cross Road. Camera-wise, you'll find one Anglevale Road, Virginia, and another one George Street at Thibberton. Get $15 off at Coles when you spend $200 or more online. Ends tomorrow. Head to coles.com.au and use promo code SAVE15. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone. Oceans without junk in them. No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
Phil Hoffman Travel and Colette, the world is on sale. It's time to tick off your bucket list. From Antarctica to Africa, the Middle East to South America, Europe and everywhere in between. You can save up to 15% in 2023. Save $614 per person on a popular 8-night tour around Ireland from $3,485 per person. Hurry, offer ends 21st of October. Visit Phil Hoffman Travel, pht.com.au.
Everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, sold by McGain again.
And as we all know, there are still buyers everywhere at the moment, so you can expect plenty of great offers on your home right away.
McGain have families lined up waiting for new homes to be listed for sale right now. So if you're looking to sell, contact the brilliant team at McGain and ask them about their McGain match strategy. They could already have the perfect buyer for your property right now.
With the largest amount of buyer activity in the past 20 years, it's the perfect time to act, and just another reason why everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, you got it, sold by McGain again.
Listen up. When we take control, we hold the key to ageing in our hands. Live Up is your new healthy ageing guide that can be accessed via phone, iPad or computer. Enjoy free expert advice, personalised support and community connections to help you age your way. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
At Steinborner, it's always been well worth the trip. Now we're evolving to include Steinborner Electric, where it's well worth the trip to the future. With Hyundai, Kona Extended Range, Ioniq Electric and Ioniq 5. Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross Plug-in Hybrid, all-new Outlander Plug-in Hybrid, Ford Escape PHEV and e-Transit. And now the new Benzina Zero Electric scooters and mopeds. Thinking electric vehicles? There's only one place to go. Steinborner Electric. It's well worth the trip to the future.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
13 to 7. Text on the Automasters text line asking why diesel has gone up 25 cents a litre. Glibly makes the comment, it's a good thing Jim Chalmers is keeping an eye on things. We'll be keeping an eye on the petrol price for you. Fuel Watch coming up after 8 o'clock this morning. We'll try and put some meat on that bone. Let's talk weather first. Tina Donaldson, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau, joins us. Morning to you, Tina.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Will.
So how do we characterise this week coming up? Is it going to be wet again?
Yeah, look, some wet weather returning, but dry today, though, is the forecast. A bit of cloud around at the moment, and that's ahead of a slow-moving low-pressure trough that's going to bring the wet weather midweek for Adelaide, and that cloud will increase particularly later on in the evening. But otherwise, warming up today. We're currently sitting at 11.6 degrees at Adelaide Nidapera site, and we're heading for a top of 22 degrees today in the city, 23 at Elizabeth, 22 Glenelg, 21 at Mount Barker, and 22 at Noarlunga today. For tomorrow, also warming up a little bit more again, heading for a top of 24 degrees. Should be mostly dry during the day, but some showers developing most likely at night with that low-pressure trough moving through. So the wet weather returning later on Tuesday with a shower or two developing from then onwards. So for Wednesday, showers persisting between 2 and 8 millimetres, so potentially quite a wet day there, and much cooler as well, top of just 17 degrees for Wednesday. Thursday, showers continuing, another 5 to 8 millimetres, top of just 16, and Friday also showers easing later, 3 to 5 millimetres, top of 18. But then for the weekend, it looks like things starting to settle down again with the new high-pressure system moving across the state. So for Saturday, back to partly cloudy conditions, top of 18 degrees, and Sunday mostly sunny and a top of 21 degrees.
Lovely. Thank you, Tina. Tina Donaldson from the Weather Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson joins us. And Kylie, 5 people have been arrested at 2 break-ins at Kilkenny.
That's right. It's quite bizarre because they weren't actually known to each other and it was the same premises. So it happened, 10 past 12 this morning. Police responded to an alarm activation at a warehouse on Pinder Street. So patrols set up cordons around the premises and PD Rusty and his handler were called in to do the heavy lifting. Rusty located 2 men in a shipping container. So those men aged 49 and 43 from Pennington and Rosewater were arrested and charged with being unlawfully on premises. But in a bit of a twist, a few hours later at 4:45, patrols responded to another activation at the same premises and they could see 3 men on CCTV. So patrols set up cordons for a second time and Rusty was called in again. This time he had 3 crooks to catch and managed to get all of them. So a man aged 63, 43 and 38, all from the western suburbs, were charged with being unlawfully on premises and going equipped, and they've all been bailed to appear in Port Adelaide Magistrates Court in November. So I reckon he would have thought it was a bit of a training exercise, Rusty, going back there for a second time.
That's just bizarre.
It is, isn't it?
So
totally.
they weren't there at exactly the same time. So the first lot were rounded up, then a few hours later it happened again.
Yeah, I know. Patrols would have been wondering what's going on.
Have you? Can you shed any more light on what the actual place that was broken into was, Kylie? Or?
Yeah, it's actually like an abandoned premises. There's a couple of shipping containers there, but it's not, like a business or anything. It's, just abandoned. I think it's the old, Bianco site.
Oh, yeah, like a storage place.
Yeah. So it's not as if they're, targeting a specific thing there either. It's bizarre.
Unbelievable. And look, we've been hearing with Mel in the news about this half-wit caught in Strathalbyn, 188 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, I was wondering what your view was going to be on this morning, David.
Give you one guess, Kylie.
Well, I reckon everyone. Yeah,
I'm glad you've got the freedom of speech that I don't quite have that.
That's right. You have to stick to copper speak.
I do.
Decamping in a northerly direction at great speed.
Yeah, exactly. About 6 o'clock last night, police were performing speed detection duties on 9 Mile Road at Strathalbyn when they recorded a Holden sedan going at 188 kilometres in a 100 zone. And if that's not bad enough, when patrols stopped the car, he actually had his wife and 3 children, all under the age of 5, in that car. So a 33-year-old man from Malang was reported for aggravated extreme speed. He lost his licence on the spot for 12 months and his car was impounded. So he'll be bailed to appear in court at a later date.
Just amazing. Thanks so much for that, Kylie. Good on you.
Have a good day.
You too. wife, kids, nice family day out. I thought Sunday drivers were slow.
That's generally how it works.
Unbelievable. Hey, another traffic news. John just rang. There's a kangaroo jumping around on Main North Road in Paraka. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Absolutely. If you see anything on our roads, wildlife or otherwise, 8223 you can give us a call, text us on the Automasters text line, or if you happen to be viewing on the Facebook or YouTube live stream, thanks to Foodland Supermarkets, you can always leave us a comment there as well.
I thought Extinction Rebellion really hit a new high or low yesterday. Did you see their antics in Melbourne at the Picasso exhibition?
After 7 o'clock, be playing you some video from inside the exhibition where, because it was such a public demonstration by Extinction Rebellion, there's a lot of terrific audio that you're going to hear after 7 o'clock about that Picasso protest.
Wonder what Picasso would have made of it all.
He might have appreciated the artistic, the
surreal nature of it.
The surrealism of a painting about a massacre at the Korean War being used to protest about the current state of the climate by a couple of people who glued themselves to the glass case on the outside of it.
It did seem to be a bit of a non sequitur, didn't it?
It totally
like a bit of, is the painting producing emissions?
I don't know.
Is the painting made out of coal?
Totally bizarre, but we'll talk more about that after 7 o'clock this morning. Let's head to the US now. Tim Lester for 7 News joins us. Morning to you, Tim.
Morning, guys.
Pretty remarkable situation playing out in the war in Ukraine over the weekend. The bridge explosion looks like it's kicked the rhetoric into another gear from Vladimir Putin's perspective.
Yes, and when you get a sense of just how much Vladimir Putin and his pride is linked to that bridge, linking Russia, the Russian Federation, into Crimea, the territory he annexed from Ukraine 8 years ago, making a physical link out of that, and the longest bridge in Europe. He celebrated that opening. It became identified within that bridge, and Ukrainians very broadly applauding at the weekend the fact that someone, nobody's taken responsibility, had struck it, apparently with a car bomb. Obviously infuriating for Vladimir Putin, made worse by the fact that right at this minute his troops are losing the war. And this a big strategic setback too, because it's a channel, a key channel through which he supplies his troops. So all round, just utterly embarrassing for the Russian president.
I guess the key question now, Tim, is what happens next, because there's been some pretty dark warnings in the last 24 hours, including one on Twitter by a senior Russian general who basically advised Ukrainians in large cities to leave because they're going to launch what I think are called, is it Salmat missiles at them?
Right. So in other words, step up the civilian carnage, which I guess is as predictable as it is horrifying. For a military leader controlling as much as Vladimir Putin controls when his troops are clearly losing, and have been for a while now. So yes, the prospects are horrible. We've seen attacks overnight in the Zaporizhzhia region in southern Ukraine that suggest that things are going to get uglier, nastier, more deadly. And really, it's a tragedy writ large.
Absolutely. And Tim, also, what's the story about the Australian bloke missing in the US?
A quite disturbing story of a 68-year-old Australian, Stanley Haviland, a senior traveller, travelling in fact with a friend from Adelaide on a cruise, and both had come back to Seattle. Both were travelling on. Apparently, the Adelaide friend has travelled on, but left Stanley to fix up some visa issues before he was to travel. Apparently discovered by hotel staff suffering some form of memory loss in his room, admitted to hospital in Seattle, was released and hasn't been seen in the 4 days since he was released. His family back in Australia, obviously now deeply concerned, have approached foreign affairs officials, and police in Seattle have a wanted notice out for him, and I think a couple of family members are even travelling to look for him. But a very concerning situation for the 68-year-old.
Absolutely. Tim, thank you. Tim Lester for 7 News in the United States.
Yeah, there's a story that's just gone up in the last hour on the Australian's website by the European correspondent, quoting a bloke called Valery Chernetsov. He's not a general. He's the deputy governor of Stavropol, so it's part of the Russian government. He tweeted a warning saying, Ukrainians, leave your cities, especially the large ones, because a big surprise is waiting for you. Sarmat missiles are ready to strike. And Putin's called all his big brass together. They're having their equivalent of like a national security meeting about this bridge being bombed.
Pretty rich referring to it as a terrorist act as they are now. I mean, tends to be what happens when you declare war on a sovereign state. They will fight back.
Yeah.
And that might mean some of your stuff gets blown up.
Yeah.
That's not terrorism. That's called consequences.
I tell you what, it's pretty. They've done a number on that bridge.
It's an extraordinary story. It's... You know what? It's had such a it has had and was designed to have such a psychological impact. It reminds me of people who are familiar with the Doolittle raid after Pearl Harbor was bombed at the start of the Second World War. The Americans said they had to strike back and demonstrate to Japan that there would be consequences for their actions, and there was no strategic imperative for it. But they ended up bombing Japan, and they hit the Imperial Palace, and it blew the Japanese away because they thought there was no way they were capable of launching an attack on the Japanese mainland from based where they were. It was an incredible feat of aviation because they ended up flying land-based craft from aircraft carriers. But in any case, the whole thing was designed to psychologically rattle them, to hit them in a place where they weren't expecting to be hit, and they weren't sure then what was going to be coming next. And that's exactly what it feels like Ukraine have done with Russia with this bridge explosion.
And if you're dreading going to work on this Monday, spare a thought for Viktor Zolotov. He is he's the head of security on the bridge. He's Vlad Putin's former bodyguard. He's now the commander of the Russian National Guard. And he had assured Mr. Putin that the security of the bridge was safe.
Oh, it's going to be a tough meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Minute to 7.
Hey Rick, it's Chris from Automasters. Just thought I'd give you a quick rundown on some of the things on the car.
Now you can see what we see.
Just want to show you two little things on the CX-5.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake's integrated into the calipers.
See any issue firsthand. How good? Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Ever paid $30 for a schnitty? You've probably paid garnish tax. All those little alfalfa sprouts, parsley sprigs, the nonsense you push to the side, you're paying for it. Sure, it looks pretty, but there's nothing like a simple, hearty meal the way you know and love without garnish tax. 722 are cooking classics for just $14.90. Monday to Friday, lunch and dinner. Simple, tasty, $14.90. For a bar and bistro, the way it's meant to be. Visit 722 Port Road, Beverly.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake.
AutoCam. Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
There have been 2 separate break-ins at the same address in Kilkenny. 2 men in their 40s were located in a shipping container at the abandoned warehouse on Pinder Street just after midnight. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says they were called back to the area around 4:45.
Patrols responded to another activation at the same premises and they could see 3 men on CCTV. So patrols set up cordons for a second time and Rusty was called in again. This time he had 3 crooks to catch and managed to get all of them.
A 38, 43 and 63-year-old have been charged and will front court next month. Police don't believe the 2 incidents are linked. A man with his wife and 3 children in the car has been busted doing 188 in a 100 zone at Strathalbyn. He was reported late yesterday. The 33-year-old will be summoned to front court at a later date. There's been a house fire in the northern suburbs. Nicole Bradley from the MFS says they've received a call shortly before 7:30 last night.
Crews attended a structure fire on Coventry Road, Davern Park. On arrival, crews found flames and smoke exiting the home, with the occupant having safely evacuated prior to arrival.
The kitchen fire was quickly extinguished, cooking left unattended, sparking the blaze. The federal opposition wants the Commonwealth to commit to funding a joint space program with NASA. $150 million was dedicated to the Moon to Mars program by the Morrison government in 2019. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Lee says it's part of a vital commitment between Australia and the US.
The exciting thing about this is that it brings our technology, our entrepreneurship, the incredible smart minds that we have in Australia right to the front of the international space race.
A national forum is aiming to equip people with the tools to avoid monkeypox. At-risk groups, including gay and bisexual men, are being encouraged to attend the online seminar where doctors will detail the latest information on where to get vaccinated. Heath Painter from the Australian Federation of AIDS Organisations says it's a preventable disease.
We really need people to build their knowledge of what monkeypox is. And when I say people, really gay and bisexual men, this is not affecting the general population.
This week marks the 20th anniversary of the Bali bombings. 202 people were killed on October 12, 2002, including 88 Australians. Australian nurse Therese Fox is one of the survivors. Now 49, she's made an emotional return to Bali, visiting the site of the bombing and viewing the memorials.
Some crazy people just took everything away and destroyed them and their families. And that's wrong.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
What's happening in the footy, Jace Kemp?
There's plenty happening, Mel, and that's where we'll start. The AFL trade period is set to ramp up as it enters its final days. Port Adelaide is still trying to secure Jason Horne-Francis from North Melbourne, while the Crows are close to landing a deal for Gold Coast Isaac Rankin. To racing, and Garth Tander is still coming to terms with winning his 5th Bathurst 1000 after taking out the historic race with Holden teammate Shane Van Gisbergen.
I have never really been emotional after a race, but that was pretty emotional, like just the realisation that 5's a pretty serious number to have had success here.
Meanwhile, Max Verstappen has secured back-to-back driver championships in Formula One after winning the Japanese Grand Prix. To cricket, and Australia has lost the first T20 against England in Perth. The Aussies fell 8 runs short despite David Warner smashing 73 runs from 44 balls.
Just trying to work out what was so brilliant about it, that's all.
That's brilliant batting. Pierces the gap. A welcome boundary for Australia. David Warner brings up his 50th.
Manchester United's Cristiano Ronaldo has scored his 700th club goal, helping the Red Devils secure a win over Everton, while Arsenal are back on top of the EPL table after defeating Liverpool 3-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Happy Valley, residual delays from nearly a smash. That's on Happy Valley Drive near Manning Drive. Got a lane closed this morning, Hampstead Road near Hargrove Street at Clearview. Slow going at the moment. South Road near Castle Street at Edwardstown. And got a few cameras to the drive-in, including Tapley's Hill Road, Glenelg North. And keep an eye out for another one, West Beach Road at West Beach. Who helps you rise against rising interest rates? The refinance is from Aussie. Let's talk home loans at aussie.com.au or come in store today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 22 for your Monday, a shower or two developing tomorrow, 24. Wednesday, showers and 17. Thursday, showers and 16. Right now, it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Introducing Australia's most wanted. Unanimously judged as Cars of the Year. The fully electric Kia EV6, winner of Wheels Car of the Year. And the Kia Sportage, Drives Car of the Year. To pick your side in this sibling rivalry, visit kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. It was amazing. About an hour ago, it was sort of dark and forecast of rain over the course of the week. But I tell you, it looks magnificent out there at the moment. It's going to be a fairly pretty day. Tomorrow too, but as we've heard from the Bureau, it'll get a little bit wet later in the week. But we're guaranteed at the moment, this nice part of the year that we're coming into, a couple of beautiful days each and every week. And look, if we're going to start the week with them, You're not going to get any complaints from me.
We ended the week with them last week.
We did, didn't we?
Weekend was superb.
Yeah, it certainly
Beautiful.
was. We just before 7 o'clock got talking about this protest that's taken place in Victoria at the Art Gallery there. We'll bring you some audio for that in just a moment. We start our wrap of the news headlines this morning with Rex Patrick, who is of course, candidate for Lord Mayor. He's called for a probe into the Women's and Children's Hospital to be built in the Theban Police Barracks site. The Greens MLC Robert Sims, the Times are also reporting that David Spears from the opposition were open to an inquiry given in their view, concerns about the heritage aspect and the imposition on the parklands. The Health Minister, Chris Picton, says that there's broad support from clinicians. He makes it, I think, an excellent point, one we should come back to in a moment, that there is already the Public Works Committee. Rex Patrick, though, seems to want the City Council to be intimately involved with the process of the building of the new hospital, which is actually, I think, a pretty chilling warning. I can't imagine anything worse.
The words of the great Ian McLaughlin ringing in my ears when they went ahead with the Oval upgrade. He said, if we have to deal at any part of the process with the Adelaide City Council, the project will fail. So we have to make sure that they are completely sidelined. It feels to me increasingly like the City Council, like the based on the tenor of the discussion during the election, it's almost like the candidates are offering sort of competing brands of myopia and paranoia about something major might be happening in the city. Like, let's just get on with it. And I'll tell you what, we are seeing now the danger, and the Crows are finding this out in Thebarton, the danger of trying to go through the sober-minded and sensible pursuit of a project for the greater public good, i.e. a huge new hospital for kids and their mothers, or a long overdue facility for the most popular football club in South Australia. Try not to do these things in future in the middle of a local government election campaign.
Oh, God.
Where every can-rattling pain in the butt is trying to get their profile up so they can get, 250, 300 votes, can jump on it and say, oh, this is an outrage. This is an attack on amenity. Like, this city, dead set. Like, the squeaky wheelers, just the extent to which... Rex Patrick texted me about that last night. Oh, God. Mate, didn't he a Submariner? What's he know about hospital design?
The Chris Picton point about the Public Works Committee, I think, is a pretty good one too. I'll just read you the terms of reference of the Public Works Committee. It's a standing committee. It's always there. South Australian Parliament has members on both sides of the political divide. Right now it's got Vincent Tarzia, Ashton Hearn, Rhiannon Pearce, Nadia Clancy, Michael Brown. So Labor and Liberal, both sides, what they do is scrutinise big projects. In fact, that's what it says in the terms of reference, to investigate and scrutinise individual and specific public capital expenditure projects, to inquire into, consider and report on any public work referred to under this Act, including the stated purpose of the work, the necessity or advisability of it, constructing it, and so on and so forth. Given that already exists, this sounds like such a political try-on to me. What we need is an inquiry, even though there will be an inquiry that happens as a matter of course. There is a part of the process of devising a political media strategy that's, what's our Monday story going to be? This feels like we need to get a story up on Monday morning angle.
Yeah.
Oh, let's call for an inquiry. That'll be good. Okay, now, also knocking around in the news, and I don't even know where to begin with this one. So what we might just do is play some audio from the National Gallery of Victoria from about 12:40 p.m. yesterday. Yeah, you can hear sort of incoherent screaming in the background, which is actually the mission statement of Extinction Rebellion. 2 protesters were arrested. They had glued their hands to a Picasso painting at the Victorian Gallery. Police turned up. 2 people were arrested, as I say. They were a 49-year-old woman from New South Wales, a 59-year-old man from Footscray. They glued themselves to Picasso's Massacre in Korea, which doesn't have any logical connection to the issue of climate, except the longbow they were drawing was to say that, there'll
be more wars.
There'll be more wars, which is
I didn't think wars were started by climate change.
Well, I think they're saying they will be. in future. The Picasso. I went to the gallery at to see the Picasso exhibition over in Melbourne.
Is it good?
It's terrific. Yeah, it's quite spectacular. Really crowded and quite busy. They did a good job managing to actually get through and get close enough to glue themselves. But
Rick in Brompton texted in on the Automasters text line saying the reason that they glued themselves to the painting is it's an oil painting.
that actually makes more sense than anything they said. So now people might hear this and go, "That's that shouldn't perhaps not be treated with levity. This is a famous piece of art. Some of these works have been sold for over $100 million." They glued themselves to the glass box on the outside, the protective box on the outside of the painting. So it's not quite as dramatic as it is at first blush.
No, I must admit, when I heard it yesterday, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, no priceless Picassos were hurt.
No,
in this protest.
Pretty tangential protest, though.
Yeah, it's hard to piece that one together. I like stuff like that. I'm no big Ed Sheeran person, but I love stuff like this.
I literally finished tour last week in Germany. I've had a week off, and I was really itching to do another gig, and I'm so happy to be back in Ipswich doing the gig. I grew up about 25 minutes away from here, in a place called Framlingham. I don't know if anyone knows it. I grew up an Ipswich Town fan.
So Ed Sheeran's got a bit of time off between touring, as you heard him explain. He decided to go to a place that means a lot to him, near where he grew up. He's an Ipswich Town fan. He went to Ipswich and decided to be basically a busker. He pulled up with a guitar and a little amplifier, and he played a set to people walking past who sort of, in a bemused way, are like filming it going, I think, is that Ed Sheeran? And it was. So he just decided to do it because he loves the area. And I love stories like that. I think that's great.
He seems like the most down-to-earth bloke.
Completely.
Imagine that, though. Like, you're walking down the mall and you see, like, Barnesy or someone standing there.
Well, he right now, I mean, you're far more in touch with music, popular and otherwise, than I am, but he would be one of the most famous people on planet Earth.
He'd have to be, wouldn't he? I haven't got any of his stuff, but, like, every time I've seen him interviewed, I've thought, he's just stand-up, like...
Completely.
That seems totally unaffected by his fame as well.
And that's...
But he'd be worth so much money.
And just someone who he clearly loves what he does.
That's how he started too. Like he was a busker. Pretty
exactly. Jared says, "What happens to these moron climate protesters? Absolutely nothing." Yeah, I wonder what is the penalty for interfering with priceless works of art?
Well, it's not even probably property damage because if they just stuck to the perspex and came off in record time, then yeah, disturbing the peace. I don't know. You're allowed to protest. You're allowed to protest.
They didn't break anything. And I think actually that is somewhat significant to their credit. I'm not sure if that was by design or by accident.
There were probably a lot of people in the gallery who would have been cheering them on too, with that type of crowd.
Marvellous. What a difficult moment for them, because they would have put in people that are very of a mind when it comes to climate change, but at the same time they'd paid to see Picasso.
Yeah, well, exactly.
All right, let's check traffic. Stephen Rowe coming up shortly to wrap the weekend in sport. Secure the last two-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Thanks, Will. At Happy Valley, we've got a residual delays from Nellius Smash. That's on Happy Valley Drive near Manning Drive. Got a lane closed this morning, Hampstead Road near Hargrove through at Clearview, speeds at 40, and starting to get slow around Highgate for the intersection upgrade of Fullerton Road and Cross Road. Cameras, you'll find one today, Ashwin Parade at Torrensville, and keep an eye out for another one, George Street at Liberton. Order your C coffee on the OTR app and enjoy our freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
The Commissioner for Young Children is calling for free school lunches for many thousands of our South Australian students, for something like 75,000 children living in poverty. Commissioner for Children and Young People, Helen Connolly.
9 till 12 weekdays.
It's about 1 in 6 across the country, so that's the kind of average. So, yeah.
What? So we're worse?
Yeah.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
It's hard to get excited about anything when you have to wait. Buy a new car. Wait. Build a home. Wait. Buy a new lounge. Wait. Delayed gratification. It's everywhere. But not at Bob Burns Blinds. At Bob Burns Blinds, we have a 10-day installation promise. Our quality roller blinds are made right here in SA, not interstate. So instead of waiting 3 months or more for your roller blinds, we'll do it in 10 days. And that's a promise. bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Ken Hall Plumbers began nearly 40 years ago with one goal, to be known in South Australia for friendly and quality service. Well, since then, Ken Hall's success has prompted a greater range of trade services, including electricians, roofers, tilers, general builders for home maintenance and full bathroom renovations.
And look, the thing that makes Ken Hall so good is that the important message that he always has for his team is the job you're on today is the most important job you'll do. Any Ken Hall team member that comes to your home is a hand-picked employee of Ken Hall Plumbers.
The whole family very much involved day to day, continuing the legacy of reliable, unbeatable service.
So if you haven't experienced the Ken Hall Service and Trades team, why not try them for your next problem that comes up at home or at work? Give Ken a call 24/7.
Car, bus or truck window smashed, cracked, scratched or chipped? Call Complete Windscreens. For over 40 years, this family-owned SA company have given motorists a clear view of the road ahead with their 24-hour windscreen repair and replacement service. No one does it better than Hayden and Lindsay Dean at Complete Windscreens, which is the very reason you should tell your insurer you want Complete Windscreens on the job. You deserve the best, most reliable and cheapest. CompleteWindscreen.com.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
Nineteen after 7. We're going to be talking about some of the important research being done at SAMRI this morning after 7:30. And then a little bit later in the morning, the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Kosh, will join us. Sport with Rowie in a moment, but first Lucy is in the studio. Morning, Luce.
Morning, guys. We love a crowdsourcing experiment. This one's come from my dad at family dinner last night. We joked about how this wouldn't make it to air, but I'm turning it into an on-air segment.
It's the beauty of being the boss of the program.
Excellent.
You
Yes,
decide
that's
what
right.
makes it on to air.
I didn't watch a lot of movies as a kid, which will surprise none of you. There is one film that my parents are shocked I haven't seen because they chose to not show it to me, if you will.
Oh, Luce.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs.
So I've never seen it in full, right? I've seen bits of The Sound of Music.
Lucky you.
From
Oh,
1965.
I'm glad you said it because I wasn't. I think they've done you a service.
But people claim to have seen this a lot, like out of
Oh, yeah.
this Mary Poppins. So I want to find the person who's seen The Sound of Music the most.
I actually think we've spoken to a listener once before who says they've seen it 30 times or something crazy.
Oh, well.
No,
Bring us back.
No, I recall once we've spoken about you people, you watch the same thing over and over, and I'm
Yeah.
sure someone texted us that day
Yeah.
saying they've watched Sound of Music some incredible number of times.
Yeah, I'd like to be convinced by The Sound of Music's biggest fan as to why I need to watch it.
And it's entirely subjective. It's like art, isn't it? Just because we aren't fans of it doesn't mean you can't come on and say how great it is.
Yes.
My grandma loved it, and I clearly, love grandma, miss her every day. But I can remember being babysat in the 70s, and it came on like Bill Collins' Golden Years of Hollywood, and I was like sitting there going, "Oh no, it's on TV again." I think I watched it about 3 times at her place. She goes, "Oh, I love Sound of Music."
3, there you go. That's 3 more than I have.
Well, it's one of those things. You should see it for
Yeah.
popular culture reasons.
And that was what my parents said. But I've seen Mary Poppins more than a handful of times, but never The Sound of Music in full.
All right. Well, we'll get Adelaide's biggest Sound of Music fan on to give you an education. 8223 0000. If it's you, we'll give you a 5AA breakfast mug. You can text us on the Automasters text line as well, 044808 1395. I bet someone can beat 3 times. I reckon I'm up around 3 times I've seen it. So you're at 3.
None of them deliberately.
Oh God, no. No, I'm sure. What's that movie with the the Stanley Kubrick film, and his eyes are being held open. That's, I think, was my experience watching
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, I think it was more like a Clockwork Orange.
That's right.
All right, let's...
A good text here from Rob. Fun fact about Ed Sheeran. I saw him say in an interview that when he first started making serious money from his music, his first purchases were things he couldn't afford as a child, like really big Lego sets, not fast cars or houses. Imagine that. Yeah, I'm gonna get that city one where you can make the giant helipad.
Everything, you're right. Everything you hear about him makes you like him more.
Yeah,
just him, the human being, whether you're a fan of the music or not. Text on the Automasters text line. Janelle says, I've never seen Sound of Music ever, not even parts of it. That's actually a remarkable feat. And then Janelle says, P.S., never seen Top Gun either. So it's not sort of genre, not defined by genre.
Two quite different films.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quentin says, good morning, Lucy. I've probably watched The Sound of Music over 100 times. Because of working in an aged care facility, it would be on at least 3 or 4 times a week. Boo to me. Thanks for that, Quentin. That's terrific.
And Sue in Redwood Park says, my daughter would have watched The Sound of Music over 100 times. Loved it as a kid. Yeah, you never watch anything more than when you're into it when you're a kid. I reckon I watched probably Return of the Jedi about 900 times. Dad taped it off TV, which I don't know what the statute of limitations on that is, but he did. Edited out the ads and everything. We had that on an old...
Edited out the ads?
Edited out the ads. Yep.
That's serious.
Oh yeah, no, it was
good parenting.
That was his joy in life, I think, doing stuff like that. 23 after 7. Let's turn our attention to sport now, because there's a lot of it to talk about over the weekend. Enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota on a Toyota certified pre-owned Toyota at North Point. Good on you, North Point Toyota. Morning to you, Stephen Rowe.
Pembo and Will, good morning. I nearly fell asleep there with the Sound of Music soundtrack. I'd rather watch grass grow. God, boring. If anyone's watched that more than once, then you are fair.
Well, I have.
You need to get a life. I need to take you out fishing and get some Aperol down your gills. Fair dinkum. Hey, a mixed bag of sport over the weekend. We lost a T20 to England. Adelaide United drew 1-1 with Wellington. God, we should have won that. SVG and Garth Tanner won Bathurst. What a ride that was. Max Verstappen's the one. He won his second F1 championship in the wet over there in Japan. Just can't warm to this fella. I feel he cut Daniel Ricciardo's lunch. Not only did he cut it, he ate it and forced him out the team. I don't know. He's got one of those heads you just want to just give a crusty to, don't you reckon? Big bad Max.
It seems, and maybe this goes for all sport, Rowie, and you'd know better than I would, but in Formula One especially, having that real sort of arrogant personality stands you in good stead for whatever reason. They carry themselves differently, those blokes at the front of the grid.
Yeah, okay. Good on you, Max. Henry Hunt, wow, saved the day for our mighty Redbacks, 97 not out, off of 326 balls, forced to draw with Victoria. So a solid start to our Sheffield Shield. But I guess all the attention, and we'll cover this with Bix today after 5. Let's hope the Rankin deal lands. I'm hopeful that it's a future first, guys, rather than pick 5. I'd like to see them land Rankin, absolutely, but I'd like to see us get Filippo as well. He's their lad. Could probably go through the midfield. And JHF, if that lands for Port, you know what? I sense the fans are riding this with every single second and blow, that when it lands, they will have parties in the streets. They'll rejoice that he is the Messiah, the second coming. Fellas, it's not going to land, and when it doesn't, I'm going to laugh my gizzards out.
So you seriously saying, Ray, so you don't think Port are going to get him?
No, I don't reckon they can. I don't reckon they will. They're not willing to give up anything.
Wow.
They're not giving up enough. And I reckon Alistair Clarkson behind this. Look, it's just my read on it, and it's all guess and innuendo and read between the lines and tea leaves. There's no science to this, but it changed a couple of days ago, and I reckon Alistair Clarkson behind the scenes has rung the club and say, hey, guys, I'm coming back. I'll be back. I'll be coaching. And make no mistake, I want him, and we've got a contract. So unless they're giving up the world, he ain't going anywhere. Don't you reckon?
I think if you Port, you give up the world, don't you? How often do you get a guy... how often do you get a guy who was heads and shoulders above everyone in his draft year, 1 year back, wanting to come home? Well, we know how hard it is to get guys to come back to Adelaide once they're gone. Geez, you just pay whatever the price is, surely.
So Mitch Georgiadis, you pick 8 this year, a future first next year in a boom draft, maybe another player. I mean, there is a limit to all of this.
I'd be interested to know where Georgiades is at long term, because I think he's a prodigious talent. There's no doubt about that. But
yeah,
if he's going to go, if there's any inkling that his future isn't 100% at Port Adelaide for the next decade, you're not going to find a better deal than this one for him to be involved in, I don't think.
What about the Rankin deal, Rowie? Is the Rankin deal set in stone yet?
I think this has been stage managed by the AFL. I reckon the paperwork's done and they're just waiting to release it. They try to stretch this trade period out over 10 days. It can't be that hard, can it? There's pick 5, take it or leave it. We've got Rankin. You get 5 happy days, we move on.
I think I'm with Rowie. Every other noises you hear behind the scenes is this one's been agreed to for a while. It's sorted out.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been
Anyway,
stage managed, a
couple
nice
that
way
with
of phrasing it.
Well, the trade period finishes 7 p.m. Wednesday night, and we know what's going to happen. There'll be 100 trades in that last half hour, and we go, oh, how good have I got? What have I done? Show me the baby.
Yep, absolutely. Good on you, Rowie.
See you guys.
Enjoy the same feeling you get with the new Toyota and a Toyota certified pre-owned Toyota at North Point Toyota, 28 minutes after 7.
Don't just send it, ace it.
I'm with Chris from ASIC Couriers, an SA family business, doing great things for your business.
Thanks, Rowie. Our drivers all undergo intensive training, and the ASIC compliance team regularly audit our fleet. Plus, we use the latest satellite technology to track your deliveries. No matter what it is, we can deliver it safely and on time. Visit asiccouriers.com.au.
Don't just send it, ace it. City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
Is it possible to create tomorrow's car today? Well, Hyundai believes so. Take a look at the Hyundai Tucson. This mid-size SUV features a revolutionary look, intuitive interior, advanced tech and safety.
I drove one of these for a while. Great cars. The Hyundai Tucson perfectly combines driving performance with total peace of mind. And that's one of the reasons why the Tucson is already turning heads in the category and has been awarded Car Sales Best Mid-Size SUV for 2021.
You can also choose from the powerful but fuel-efficient diesel 1.6-litre turbo diesel all-wheel drive in stock and ready to drive away.
Tech driver Hyundai Tucson to see why tomorrow wants its car back.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Swan, Australia's #1 in do-it-yourself security, introduces All Secure 650, a wireless security kit with rechargeable battery cameras you can set up in minutes, not hours. Featuring a power hub that stores up to 2 years of footage and a recharging bay and spare battery, so you can swap batteries with ease and no downtime. Receive alerts, see and control everything from your phone. All Secure 650 from leading electrical retailers and swan.com. Always charged, always secure. From Swan Security.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
Police don't believe 2 break-ins at the same Western Suburbs address overnight are linked. 2 men, aged 43 and 49, were located in a shipping container at an abandoned Kilkenny warehouse just after midnight. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says another 3 people were apprehended at the site around 4:45.
A man aged 63, 43 and 38, all from the Western Suburbs, were charged with being unlawfully on premises and going equipped, and they've all been bailed to appear in Port Adelaide Magistrates Court in November.
A driver has been reported for extreme speed at Strathalbyn. His Holden was clocked doing 188 in a 100 zone late yesterday. His wife and 3 children, all aged under 5, were in the car. The 33-year-old will be summoned to front court at a later date. The first combination COVID booster has been introduced to Australia's vaccine program. Moderna's Omicron shot is officially entering the rollout from today. Combination boosters are also available in the UK, Switzerland, Canada and the US. Researchers have found there could be a host of positives for children conceived via IVF. Brady Evans has the story.
As more families turn to fertility treatment to have babies, a new study claims children conceived via IVF are more responsible and better behaved. Researchers from the University of Western Australia have also found IVF-conceived children may perform better in school. Teenage girls born through IVF were found to have a lower body mass index, thinner skin folds and less subcutaneous fat, although boys showed no real difference. 1 child in every Australian classroom is now born via IVF.
There's an update today about John Farnham. The 73-year-old underwent mouth cancer surgery in August, where he had to have part of his jaw removed, followed by reconstructive work. In an interview to air tonight, his son James has told A Current Affair the family has been overwhelmed at the support shown.
It was kind of comforting to know that Australia was behind him too. And I know he appreciated that. I remember when we first told him, he kind of got all teary. Yep. Because that's what he does. He never expects everyone to still love him, but they do. So it was kind of nice for us to hear that and for him.
Police have released more details about the 10 people killed in a massive explosion at an Irish petrol station. Those killed in the accident include 2 teenagers and a 5-year-old. A man in his 20s remains in a critical condition in a Dublin hospital. Superintendent Liam Geraghty says the tragedy has touched everyone in the tight-knit community.
I'm sure the community will come together and will support each other. An Garda Síochána are also here to help them, as are all the other state agencies, and I know the Health Service Executive have put in extra supports for the local communities. There will be supports in the local schools over the coming weeks. It is going to take time.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And it's over to Jace Kemp.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy, and a number of trades are expected to take place today as the AFL trade period enters its final days. Adelaide is among the team, with the Crows close to securing a deal for Gold Coast Isaac Rankin. To Racing and Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander have given Holden a fairy tale farewell at Mount Panorama. The pair taking out the Bathurst 1000. Despite winning the race, Shane Van Gisbergen narrowly missed out on his 3rd Supercars Championship. John Thompson reports.
Van Gisbergen hoped to ice the championship with his dominant win at Bathurst yesterday, but will now have to wait to the Gold Coast 600 at the end of the month to hopefully claim the title. Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander were totally dominant yesterday and led for better than 50% of the laps to lead home the Holden of Chaz Mostert and Fabian Coulthard, but it was a late fight back by Mustang driver Cam Waters that prevented Van Gisbergen from being crowned 2022 Supercar champion. But the effort meant little in the scheme of things, with Holden fans celebrating the brand's last ever win at the race long into the night at Mount Panorama.
In Formula 1, Max Verstappen won the Japanese Grand Prix and secured his 2nd World Championship title. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished 11th. To cricket, and Australia has fallen 8 runs short to England in the first T20 in Perth.
Oh, no disputing that one. And Australia fall 8 runs short.
Well, finally in the NBL, the Tasmania Jack Jumpers defeat the Bullets by 4 points. They'll now face the 36ers in Adelaide on Thursday night. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Plimpton, we've got traffic lights on the flash. That's on Anzac Highway at Marion Road. Got a lane closed, Hampstead Road near Hargrave Street at Clearview. Speeds reduced. And works are continuing up Asted Road near Hawthorndine Drive at Belair. Speeds down to 40 k's. Cameras today, you'll find one at Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Midway Road at Elizabeth Park. M12 Fuel. Portable productivity. Trade focused. System-wide. Available at Milwaukee authorised retailers. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 22 today, a shower or two developing tomorrow, 24, then dropping back to 17 with showers on Wednesday and 16 on Thursday. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
24 to 8. We've solved one question this morning, I think. I think it's abundantly clear on the evidence we've got on the Automasters text line that The Sound of Music is the most divisive film ever in cinema history.
Yeah, that's right.
There are people that have watched it. Well, let's go through some of the texts.
There's a mountain of them here. Paul in Blakeview says, "Good morning, guys. I cannot stand The Sound of Music. I turned my TV on last night and there it was. I immediately changed the channel." And then messages like this. "Sue in Christie's Beach. I've seen The Sound of Music approximately 60 times. That's guessing at least 3 times a year since I was around 20. I've totally lost all count of how many times I've also watched Mary Poppins or Flying High. Now I've watched that over and over. I've got all of them recorded. Mary Poppins Returns is closing in fast. But The Sound of Music was for grown-ups with serious stuff in, among the great sound of Julie Andrews singing. She has got a superb voice."
Yeah, quite remarkable. Andrea in Williamstown's called in on this. Morning to you, Andrea.
We've got to be really quiet about this one because I'm about to dob somebody in. My partner, he's a pretty blokey bloke. You know, he's minor. He blows stuff up. But that's what he does. That's what he does for a living. That is a movie that not only did he cover as a child, but he bought a VCR, he watched that, and then when he had a son of his own, he got it in DVD and he popped his little boy in front of it at every opportunity. I don't think there's a number, frankly. I don't think there's a number.
Andrea,
and it's just hilarious.
There is no more category of calls we enjoy than people dobbing in their partners on the air. So you've got a 5AA breakfast mug coming your way, Andrea. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. If people like it, they love it. And if people aren't into it, they hate it. There doesn't seem to be anyone who's got a sort of lukewarm take on Sound of Music.
Rachel says she's lost count of how many times she's seen it. She says, "It was my late Nana's favourite movie and it makes me tear up every time I hear Climb Every Mountain." Good on you, Rach. 22
minutes to 8. Van Argeren is from Samry's Wellbeing and Resilience Centre. I love, anytime any research comes out of Samry, I love the building. I love that we've got this building in Adelaide that does all this nation-leading research. It just makes me feel good that it's there. I love stories that have come out of Samry. Today they're talking about mental health, it being Mental Health Day today, and some of the data that's come out is pretty concerning. They've analysed data of 20,000 Aussies. The majority of these are in South Australia, so that's the nice thing about Samry, is that when they're doing research, they're using us as the subjects of the research. Found 2 in 3 people are struggling to cope, and they call that people who have low well-being or are in distress. Staggering, that seems to be more than half. Yoop, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Jen. How are you going?
We're good, Yoop. Now, we spoke to you at the start of the pandemic, mate. We remember well you used an excellent word, catastrophising, for sort of trying to make sure we keep everything in perspective. Has it been hard, though, for people to keep things in perspective, particularly when you consider not just the human toll from the pandemic, but also the uncertainty that it's created that now has fed into a real sort of economic and cost of living crunch?
I think it's quite obvious that even if you speak to your mates or to your loved ones, that a lot of us are struggling a little bit. We are either tired or we're a bit more grumpy. And it's quite normal that after a couple of years of the pandemic, a lot of other stuff happening in the world that will start taking its toll. So you'll start noticing that people will just they're already craving for a holiday, and it's October. So yeah, that's really reflected within our data.
Interesting conclusion to come out of some of the data and the research you've been doing, that just treating mental illness is not working. Rates of mental illness have not improved, despite the fact we're all more aware of it and we're investing more money than ever in it. Is it hard to tease out, as David was saying, that data from the environmental effects, or is there something ingrained, organic, or disordered about the way it sort of presents in the population?
No, it's really a combination of a lot of different, quite complex factors. And look, we've had so many reports into how the mental health system is going, and they pretty much all give the same answer, that we do need serious reform and we need to have some different approaches. So we have to move beyond trying to patch something that isn't working. And the data is just showing it. We're actually going backwards. So we're pouring so much more money into mental health and we're going backwards. So we won't accept it in any other area. If it's cancer or like heart disease, we would never accept it. And with mental health, for some reason, we haven't had that wake-up call yet.
I don't know if you saw it, Dupe, that there was a study released this weekend about the use of mindfulness in schools, where kids are told to meditate and sort of all sit around and, you know, talk about how they're all feeling mentally. And this study suggested, well, it didn't suggest, it found that kids are actually finding it more stressful than they were prior to doing the classes. Is that? I'm not quite sure what the sort of outtake you'd make from that is, but I don't know. Do we sort of maybe need to get back to a more old-fashioned approach where you sort of just keep yourself physically active and get out and about and you know, get some fresh air rather than all sitting around sort of preemptively talking about a problem that might hitherto not have existed anyway?
Yeah, look, the point that you're making about making sure that we're physically active is definitely something that every mental health professional would recommend. I wouldn't discard mindfulness as a treatment in general. What happens within schools is often just really difficult. What we need to be asking ourselves is the school setting the best vehicle for us to be teaching mindfulness, and this is actually good for everyone. So I think mindfulness has become one of these fads, and everybody has jumped on it. And we do teach it, and it's actually helpful for a lot of different people. Our research quite clearly shows that, but maybe the schools just isn't the right time or the right setting to be practicing that.
Do we need more nuanced language that can distinguish between mindfulness as you talk about it and mindfulness as it appears in someone's Facebook feed by way of some sort of inspirational quote? Because that often gets considered to be mindfulness as well, doesn't it, you?
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-all phrase, and there are. It's the same with any treatment. There's a bunch of guidelines that you kind of need to meet before it becomes effective. So there's definitely differences between when you go to an evidence-based program or someone who knows what they're doing and teaching it, rather than someone just making it up on the fly. And yeah, you can do quite a lot of harm even though you have good intention. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky balance here with mental health.
Fascinating stuff, as always. Joop Van Achteren from SAMRI, from the Wellbeing and Resilience Centre.
16 minutes to 8, our number, 8223 Gee, the Automasters text line in meltdown at the moment. There's people fighting for or against the sound of music.
It's turned into a ding-dong tussle.
It really has.
Head-to-head.
A lot of emotional sort of takes on Sound of Music coming through. We'll get to some more of those shortly.
Now, where's this baby, Will? What's the latest?
I can tell you where it is. As of 7:44, 7:44 right now. Oh, my poor wife. Her feet look like calzones.
Yeah, so many women
it's
brutal. If you like shoes, pregnancy's probably not for you, because fitting into the shoes after the miracle of creation is complete is easier said than done.
She's doing well, but yeah. It's,
so what's the due date again?
22nd of October, so we're 12 days away, technically.
22nd of October. I think we should turn this into some sort of listener competition.
Okay.
Only if you're comfortable with that.
Sure, why not?
Because I particularly for baby number one, isn't the evidence suggests that normally they come early?
I
don't know. I mean, I'm not an obstetrician, but I'm prepared to have a go.
Yeah, it's funny. We had a wedding on Saturday night. Different experience. One of them, their first came late after the due date. There was a couple early. I'm not sure what the evidence says.
I think we should have some sort of closest to the pin. And we should get the listeners involved. Yeah.
A bit like how many goals will Taylor Walker kick this weekend?
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to do it for the birthday. Okay, Lucy, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, that is exactly what we're going to do.
Excellent.
So we're in the 2 week and under stage, as you said.
Yes.
So what we'll do after this next break in a minute, everyone have a think. We want you to guess when Will's baby is due.
When it's going to come.
To
the minute.
Oh, when it's coming, sorry, yes. To the minute. So
not just the hour, but to the minute.
So, for example, we want October the 22nd at 1:34 p.m.
Okay.
That's what we're after. Anytime, you can start it from now. If someone thinks it's going to arrive in the next hour, I mean...
Well, that would be inconvenient.
We hope not for Will and Alison. We really just at least wait till after 9 o'clock would be great. But that's what we want. We're going to run it every day until the baby comes.
It could be the wildest breaking at 8 ever if it happens in 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, that's right. That'll be that sorted for the morning.
So we'll do nearest to the pin just for 2 minutes straight. So
all right.
Everyone just start thinking.
Can I preemptively get mine in?
Yeah,
See, frame the market. You can frame the market.
All right, I'm going to say October 18, which is next Tuesday. So Tuesday week, October 18, and I'll say at 4:20 a.m.
Okay, and that'll be a big Monday night. 4:20 a.m.
Yeah.
So
4:20 a.m.
Okay. All right.
So we'll start Tuesday week show with the excellent news that baby Consuela has been born.
Yes.
I like co-opting footy coverage, mechanics for, birth-related things. I think that's excellent. That's a good development. All right, nearest to the pin. 82230055 is the number. Unbelievable. Bix's Bullseye. We did the Bix's Bullseye music to be
that's
played.
right, exactly.
All right. Sorry, Bix.
I think Lucy's cooking up some music now.
Is she? Okay, excellent. Well,
the best ideas are always done on the fly.
That was good stuff. All right, let's check traffic and we'll try and work out what the hell's going on here. Secure the last 2-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'Connell.com.
Thanks, Will. At Plimpton, traffic lights on the flash on Anzac Highway at Marion Road. Bedford Park, smash on Sturt Road at Marion Road causing delays. Got a lane close, Hampstead Road near Hargrove Street at Clearview, speeds at 40, and we're slowly going at the moment at Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. Cameras, Ashwin Parade, Torrensville and George Street at Leverton. This Friday, October 14, is Musicians Making a Difference Day. Dedicate a song on your social with hashtag This Song Is For You and tag MMAD Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Great food lives in Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
So much included. Plus, more highlights than any comparable New Zealand holiday. Departs Friday the 3rd of February or 3rd of March 2023. Call now or visit holidaywonders.com.au for this truly unbeatable offer.
Hi, Susanna Toop here from Toop & Toop. $450,000. That's the average price of an investment property in Adelaide. It's also the value of the asset you are trusting your property manager with. As a director and CEO of Toop & Toop Property Management and a lawyer, looking after your property is my team and I's sole focus, and we take this responsibility very seriously. Building long-term relationships with our clients is really important to us. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? toop.com.au.
Are you ready to try new interests and activities or enjoy some old ones? With Live Up, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to find and connect with local community groups to suit you. So if you're ready to keep up, show up and step up, then join up. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
Hi, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. Did you know solar is still the cheapest form of power in South Australia? So if you're not going solar, you're paying too much for your electricity. Jump on board now before the government rebates fall again at the end of December. Act now and you can save thousands of dollars on a typical system tailor-made for you. If you wait until next year, those savings simply won't be there. Get in touch today. Visit nrgsolar.com.au because solar is all we do.
An average of 83 people die on Australian rail lines every year. Ask yourself, do I pay attention when I cross rail lines? The answer might surprise you. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment. David Kosh from Sunrise after 8:30 today. We might talk about the Stage 3 tax cuts with Koshy. Breaking 8, not too far away. Now, we've co-opted Bix's Bullseye. A baby-related Bix's Bullseye, which is a sentence that no one ever imagined would ever be uttered in the history of radio.
This is going to be big. There's going to be a prize as well, folks. Not sure what it is yet, but we're going to we're going to get one.
We will have a prize?
Yeah.
Baby love, my baby love.
Unbelievable. There we go. Bit of Supremes to kick things off.
All right. So what was your nearest to the pin?
October 18, 4:20 a.m.
All right. 82230055 is the number. Oh, gee. Tina in Mitchell Park. Good morning.
Good morning. Will, forgive me. Can I just ask
Do you know if you're having a boy or a girl?
It's a girl, Tina.
It's a girl, okay, because boys are usually a little bit more reluctant to leave mummy's comfort.
Ah.
So I'm going to go the 21st at 8:21.
Good stuff, Tina.
AM or PM?
Sorry, AM.
Sorry, Tina?
I think Tina's having some trouble with her phone. We'll put it back to Luce. Let's go to Lindsay. Morning, Lindsay.
Yeah, morning, boys.
What's your pick, mate?
I'm going for Saturday the 15th, I think it is, 8 p.m.
Saturday the 15th, 8 p.m.
Thank you, Lindsay. This music, seriously. Sue in Christie's Beach, good morning.
Morning, guys. I hope I know more about babies than I do about Gruyere.
Hey, Sue, I still feel bad about that. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Okay, October 15th seems to be popular, so I'm going to go for 3:15 a.m.
Okay, thank you,
3:15
Sue.
a.m., big Friday night coming up.
All right. Andrew in Craigmore, good morning.
Oh, Will, you're not going to know yourself, mate. You know, my first three kids, I changed their first nappies. Each one of them peed and pooed on me. The black car.
You paint such a lovely picture of parenthood, Andrew.
And that's my life, mate. Anyway, I reckon the 24th at 3:36 in the afternoon.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Roz in Aberfoyle Park, good afternoon. Good morning. Where are we at? I don't know what's happening.
Oh, hi there. I hope it's the 3:10 a.m. on the 21st of October, because that's my 70th birthday.
Oh, that'd be nice,
wow,
Roz. That'd be lovely. Steve is the last one, I think. Morning, Steve.
Morning, boys. I reckon it'll be the 20th of October, 10:20.
Good on you, Steve. Thank you.
10:20. Okay.
AM or PM, Steve?
AM.
AM.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Now, Lucy said there will be a prize with this.
What's your tip, Luce?
Lucy's working on some sort of outcome for whoever gets nearest to the pin. Okay, so it's been slapped together nice and quickly.
Lucy's gone for the 20th of October, 9:15 p.m.
Okay, good. All right, can we move on now?
It's made me feel nervous, this segment.
Have it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, for you, the baby's going to arrive, but I'm going to have to do the show on my own.
Well, exactly.
I'd know how to use the buttons. It's going to be terrible.
No, it's not that hard.
I think Luce and I will do it together. That's the plan.
It'll demystify a lot of it for you. You'll realise it's actually not that difficult at all. All right, it's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight, Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. There's a man here to see you with curly hair and a black moustache.
Who is it, Steph?
It's Tom Goodson-Tonus wearing a curly wig and a false moustache.
Why is he wearing
He
it?
thought I wouldn't recognise him. Can't put one over on you, Stephanie. Shall I have him arrested?
No, may as well send him in, Steph.
Will do. You can go. Thank you, Stephanie.
Come in, Tom.
Oh, Peter.
G'day, Tom. Oh, take that off.
Yeah, my disguise didn't fool Stephanie.
Yeah, you're not hard to miss, Tom.
Ow! I was only wearing it as a joke. I brought it here for you.
Why do I need a wig and a false
Well,
moustache?
because people are hammering you for pulling down the police barracks, and I thought you might need a disguise so you can walk around and...
No, I haven't pulled anything down yet.
Well, they're having a go at you for even suggesting it, and people are saying that you should have fixed ramping by now, and you haven't.
Well,
another reason for disguise.
You can't fix ramping until you make more space to put sick people in.
Well, they thought you'd do it as soon as you became the big boss man of the state.
Well, building hospitals is one way you fix ramping, and you can't do that overnight.
You and I know that, Premier Peter, but the very small minority that hates your Labor guts thinks you should have done it by now.
Oh, I'm sick of minorities.
They make a lot of noise.
It's the media. They keep stirring up the trouble.
Yeah, I hate the media, bunch of trumped-up troublemakers.
Why don't they report what the silent majority is saying? They agree with me. They don't care about crappy old buildings.
Because the media are all Liberal supporters, Premier.
Really?
Of course they are. They make fun of us all the time.
Well, that might be just because we happen to be in power, Tom. They made fun of Marshall when he was in.
Yeah, but when Marshall was Premier, they still made fun of me.
Yeah, well, that's...
What?
Different.
What?
I tell you what, recent appointments suggest that the media aren't all Liberal supporters in South Australia.
My goodness. The one-time press back all worked for the Labor Party.
I know. Right, we're the only honest brokers left in this town.
Maybe we've missed a trick. 4 to 8.
That's right.
It's time for real estate. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop's on the line. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
So, Suzanne, all these interest rate rises, like, what is it, 6 in a row now, and still prospect of more to come. Is it affected buyer and indeed seller behaviour locally yet?
Look, I think with higher interest rates, it does mean a reduction in borrowing power. So I think when we look at prices, and particularly with the bigger cities like your Sydneys and Melbourne and what they've been experiencing, I think that, look, prices have come back a bit. And look, I think 6 in a row, that's to be expected, particularly, Sydney and Melbourne with the amount of debt and things out on those properties over in those cities, you certainly sort of start to see buyer behaviour changing. Look, here in Adelaide, I think after back-to-back record-breaking years, we really have seen that, prices are starting to level out. You might start to see in the media, they've pulled back maybe by 0.5% and things like that, but we've got to remember that they did climb by over 20% year on year each year, so that's up to almost 50%. Sort of that huge growth spurt that we saw. So I think that we'll start to see the market bubble along in this new price bracket now. So I think buyers can still be out there, and we're expecting a lot of things. We're into spring now. We've got a lot of property that's still selling, a lot of buyers that are still out, genuinely really trying to find property. If you might have seen, 60 to 80 people through an open home on a weekend, you might now see 20 to 30, or, it's that type of, it's really about the quality of the buyers that we are seeing out there. And another trend, I think, off the back of the rate rises is that we're really seeing renovated properties are really popular. Off the back of the supply constraints, just how hard it's been to get tradespeople, they're really popular with buyers at the moment because you can move in, you don't need to have that uncertainty around how you're going to get trades in and, how you're going to get window supplies or things like that. So, certainly the economic situation, I think that it's certainly having a bigger impact on the eastern seaboard, but I think as well, with prices here in Adelaide, we're expecting them to still stay within this new band, but certainly bubble along over the next sort of 6 months or so.
Excellent stuff. Good on you, Susanna. Susanna Toop from our good friends at Toop and Toop Real Estate.
2 minutes to 8 o'clock. 5AA News is coming up. Breaking at 8 next.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Please don't hold this against me, but if buy urban bathrooms and kitchens is not your thing, well, that's that's okay. If people gushing over your new kitchen and bathroom means nothing to you, nothing at all, that's completely fine, I guess. But if you do appreciate millimetre-perfect craftsmanship and service of the highest standard, start here. Buyurban.com.au. Adelaide's home renovation experts.
When My Living Outdoors say they can take care of everything on your decking, veranda or pergola project, they mean it. And David, you've experienced firsthand the magic of My Living Outdoors.
It's not just the magic, it's just the peace of mind you've got, because like everything from the council approval to the design to the measuring up, and they do that twice, the old saying, measure twice, cut once, down to the painting, everything was taken care of by the great people at My Living Outdoors. It was a smooth, first-class experience from start to finish, thanks to their seasoned builders. Everything from design, council approval to construction was sorted.
Their motto is good enough doesn't cut it. That attention to detail creates decks, verandas and pergolas you're going to love for a lifetime.
And look, Adelaide's top tradies, they love working with My Living Outdoors, and it's because Michael and his team know that happy tradies care more, so they'll give your home improvements the attention and the care that they deserve.
Visit mylivingoutdoors.com.au and take advantage of their September flash sale. Get in quick to get free installation on any home improvement project, but hurry, offer ends 30 September.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A man has been caught almost 90 k's over the speed limit at Strathalbyn. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says he was clocked doing 188 in a 100 zone on 9 Mile Road late yesterday.
If that's not bad enough, when patrols stopped the car, he actually had his wife and 3 children, all under the age of 5, in that car. So a 33-year-old man from Malang was reported for aggravated extreme speed. He lost his licence on the spot for 12 months and his car was impounded, so he'll be bailed to appear in court at a later date.
5 people have been arrested during 2 separate break-ins at the same address. It happened at an abandoned warehouse at Kilkenny overnight. 2 men, aged 43 and 49, from Pennington and Rosewater, were charged with being unlawfully on premises. 4 hours later, 3 men, aged 63, 43 and 38, from Woodville Park, Alberton and Adelaide, were also charged with being unlawfully on premises. A resident has evacuated safely from a house fire at Davern Park. The alarm was raised on Coventry Road around 7:30 last night. The blaze in the kitchen was started by cooking left unattended. Nicole Bradley from the MFS has this advice.
The MFS would like to remind the public to always remain in the kitchen when cooking. The MFS strongly recommends that you equip your kitchen with a fire blanket and fire extinguisher and familiarise yourself with how to use them.
A flood emergency continues in parts of New South Wales. Residents are being urged not to be complacent, with swollen rivers expected to rise. Evacuation orders have been issued for areas along the Hawkesbury and Nepean rivers in Sydney's west and northwest, and in Wagga Wagga in the Riverina. Emergency Services Minister Steph Cook said flood warnings remain in place for catchments across the state's north, central and southwest.
Please, people, don't be deceived. The sun might be out in various parts of the state. We may be seeing some dry conditions at the present, but our rivers continue to rise.
Affordable accommodation is becoming increasingly difficult for many to find, that in addition to higher prices across the board. Today is World Homeless Day, and the Salvation Army's Brendan Nottle warns they're concerned all the new faces they're seeing may just be the start of a huge wave.
The major issue that we're seeing at the moment is an increase in the number of people that require support with their accommodation. Many of those people are new to our service. And the reason why they're having to come to us for support for the first time in their lives is because there's significant economic downturn.
Ukrainian authorities say dozens of people have been killed in the southeastern city of Zaporizhia. The BBC's Hugh Baeshega is in the Kiev.
The Ukrainian military has described this attack as a cynical attack, and Zaporizhia has become a frequent target by Russian forces. It is a major city in the south of the country, relatively close to the front lines. And I think the fear yesterday was that the Russians could go ahead with some kind of major attack in response to the attack on the Crimea bridge, and we're seeing that overnight Zaporizhia was again attacked. Another residential area hit in this city.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
And it's over to Jace Kemp.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with cricket, and Australia suffered an 8-run loss to England in Perth last night. Nathan Ellis was the top wicket taker for the Aussies with 3 for 20. Skipper Aaron Finch full of praise for the 28-year-old.
He's a fantastic bowler. He's done it at domestic level. He's done it every chance he's got for Australia. He's nailed it. The fact that he keeps fronting up and he's been on a lot of tours and been 12th man a lot of times, but the fact that every time he gets an opportunity, he trains a house down and he executes. He's just a brilliant person to have around the team.
Meanwhile, the Redback Shield opener against Victoria ended in a draw. To racing, and Max Verstappen has taken out the Japanese Grand Prix, the Red Bull driver clinching his second world title in as many years.
You know, that was the perfect scenario to win it here, and we did that. Of course, let's say a little bit delayed, but yeah, still very happy to win it. The race as well, I mean, the car was again on fire, and I really didn't have any issues today. We could look after our tyres.
Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished out of the points in 11th. To the EPL, and Arsenal has defeated Liverpool 3-2, while Cristiano Ronaldo has scored his 700th goal in club football to help Manchester United beat Everton 2-1.
And he's on the same wavelength as his old Real Madrid teammate Ronaldo, and that is goal number 700 of his club career for Manchester United's number 7.
Yeah, incredible stuff there. In the NFL, Tom Brady has led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a 6-point win over the Atlanta Falcons, while his former side, the New England Patriots, smashed the Detroit Lions 29-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Plimpton, traffic lights on the flash on Anzac Highway at Marion Road. At Bedford Park, there's a smash on Sturt Road at Marion Road causing delays. In the Parklands, reports of a smash on Unley Road between Greenhill Road and South Terrace causing delays. And we're getting busy at the moment, Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. Cameras, you'll find them today, Anzac Highway, Glenelg East, and another one, Cudmore Terrace at Henley Beach. Trains can travel up to 100 kilometres per hour. Trains can't stop quickly. You can. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 22 for your Monday, a shower or two developing tomorrow, 24, then Wednesday showers 17 and 16 on Thursday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 8. Break kicking in 8 coming up. Behind closed doors after 8:30. David Koch, the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program also. And more of your texts on the Automasters text line 0480081395 and comments on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream also.
Simo in Beulah Park reckons whoever gets closest to the pin with a baby should get to name the baby.
I think, Lisa, you'll come up with a prize that twofold has more utility for you, the listener, and will less likely to result in me being killed.
So Consuela's not going to fly then,
No,
what you're telling me?
No, I don't think so.
Nice name, Consuela.
Yeah.
Wonder if any of our listeners are called Consuela.
Con for short? Connie for short.
Connie, yeah. It's a Latin American name.
All right.
Well, listeners will remember Greg Jenkins, who we've interviewed many times. He is the son of Anna Jenkins, who was the Adelaide grandmother who died under very mysterious and murky circumstances in Malaysia. When she was there visiting her ailing grandmother, she caught an Uber to the retirement home where her 101-year-old mother was living and was never seen alive again. Now, Greg has single-handedly mounted what has effectively been his own investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of his devoutly religious mother. And he's lost track of how many times he's been to Malaysia. It's dozens of times. He left again yesterday. He's gone back up to Malaysia because this week the coronial inquest into the death of Anna Jenkins is recommencing. This is the third stage of the investigation. And I've got to say, it's increasingly looking like the way in which this coronial inquiry is being conducted by the Malaysian authorities, it looks like a sort of face-saving exercise, which is aimed at preventing full scrutiny of the shortcomings in the police investigation. The bloke who was driving the Uber, the last person to see Anna, was never properly interviewed by the police. They didn't declare her disappearance a missing persons case. They never investigated the building site where Greg himself ended up finding human remains that belonged to his mother and also personal effects that left no doubt whatsoever that it was her body who was there. He found things like a wooden crucifix that she used to carry with her at all times. He even found a biro from the Clare Country Club, which his mum had in her handbag. Now, two things have happened. Well, one thing's already happened that's been extremely distressing for the Jenkins family. The first was that when the first leg of the coronial inquiry was underway, one of the police detectives who was implicated in the shoddy investigation into her death made the totally baseless and brazen suggestion that this little old lady might have somehow been involved with drugs. Well, apparently, the DPP's got some other star witness who this week is expected to allege that maybe she was a victim of domestic violence and simply disappeared to get away from her husband. The extent to which the good name of this woman and her family is being besmirched by the Malaysian authorities in an attempt to get themselves off the hook is a disgrace. But we just wish Greg all the very best of luck over the next days. He hasn't even got a straight answer from them as to whether the inquest is starting today or Wednesday. So he's just sort of sitting around in Penang waiting to find out what happens. We'll try to line up an interview with him later in the week. We know Frank Pangello has been doing a lot of work helping the family, and in Greg's absence, we'll talk to Frank as well. But for the Jenkins family, it's a nightmare that, as yet, shows no signs of ending.
It's costing him a fortune going back and forth, ostensibly to pursue justice, but clearing his mother's name bizarrely now.
Well, it's just a totally transparent diversionary tactic.
It's awful. Julie Gillard's book, Not Now, Not Ever, has come out today. It coincides with 10 years since her perhaps most famous moment in politics, certainly her most internationally famous moment, the misogyny speech. Here she is talking on Channel 9's Today Show a little bit earlier.
Oh, look, I think you always look back and think you could have done this or you could have done that, but I tried to do as much as I could as Prime Minister in the sense that every day was precious and every day we were trying to drive big reforms forward. On sexism and misogyny, I do specifically regret, though, not calling it out earlier. I had thought when I first became Prime Minister that the maximum reaction to me being the first woman would be in the early days and then it would wash its way through the system and normalise. I was clearly wrong on that, and knowing what I know now, that it was just going to gather and get worse, I do think potentially if I'd called it out earlier it would have been a bit easier, but you never get to run the control test in politics, so we'll never quite know.
That speech, it's interesting the way it was reported internationally, because at the time in Australia, it was seen through the prism of all the leadership dramas over the leadership and over Peter Slipper being made speaker, and all the journos sort of went, oh, okay, so is this a sort of, has she blown up because the pressure's getting to her, or is it a diversionary tactic? But people just seeing it with fresh eyes saw this woman going, shut up, you idiot. Don't you give me a lecture. And I think in hindsight, that was actually the more accurate way to cover it.
Yeah. She should be also charged with writing the instruction manual on how Prime Ministers should conduct themselves after they leave office. She's been the absolute model of what you want an ex-Prime Minister to be, which is not to say they should never be heard, but just that they should choose their moments wisely, carefully, and rarely. Yeah. And she has done all of that. I think she's a total class act.
Even the most ardent Liberal voter, anti-Gillard person would have to concede that.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of federal politics and some things that took place on the Today Show also this morning, the independent member for FIVEAA, Di Lay, has had a bit to say about a report that's come out regarding the amount that the major parties spend on political advertising, both in state and federal politics.
Don't have money to spend on political advertising at all. I mean, for me, I use my own funds to in terms of the campaign, and the community contributed to it. No money in advertising. So I think the major parties having that fund is, first of all, it's taxpayers' money to promote their own machinery. So I think that it needs to be really reassessed.
It's estimated that federal and state governments spend more than $450 million a year on advertising, more than Harvey Norman and Woolworths. Since 2008, there's been $630 million spent by the major parties on election advertising. I guess the counterpoint to Di Lay's position is that the spend may never have been higher, but neither has the independent vote.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So I'm not sure if they're getting bang for their buck right now.
The thing I thought was cutest in that report was that there's a huge spike in this so-called neutral sort of informative government advertising in the lead up to elections. And it's things like, did you know your health system's working for you? If you're unwell, you can go to a hospital. Like, oh, yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'm glad they pointed that one out.
15 after 8. We pointed out to our listener, Helen, late last week, the fact that double cut rolls exist. This is fun. It came up by virtue of our Metro Friday question, I think. People were talking about double cut rolls. And
what should really be heritage listed? What would you chain yourself to?
That's right. And you said if they got rid of the double cut roll, you're willing to do...
lie in front of a bulldozer
You'll put your life on the line. And Helen said she'd never heard of them. Well, we set Helen the task over the weekend of getting herself a double cut roll. Helen, good morning.
Morning, boys. I certainly did. On the Friday, I went to West Lakes.
Oh, so you went to that excellent sandwich place there?
It was Boulevard Coffee Cafe.
Yep.
Yep. Anyhow, I said to the girl, look, I want a double cut roll. Lovely staff too, I might add. And I said, I'll have it with the lot, please.
The lot?
My God. Have you finished it yet, Helen?
It was the worst thing I could have ever said. I'm sorry. But I mean, well, I'm older than your dad, and when you get a bit older, you can't eat as much as you do when you're younger. Anyhow, it was delicious. I could only eat half of it. And I said to my husband, would you like half? He said, you never share food.
So you were defeated by a double cut roll, Helen?
Oh, yeah.
You weren't the first, Helen. That's the beauty of the double cut roll is it's always more than enough.
It's the filling to bread ratio that you get
exactly
with the double cutting.
I normally have a glass of wine in the evening around 4-ish, 4:30. I couldn't even fit that in. That was horrible. Listen, just quickly too, talking about Sound of Music, Zhivago. I've lost count of the times I've watched Dr. Zhivago.
Oh, a wonderful film.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful soundtrack.
Lovely to chat with you, Helen.
A double cut roll with a lot. The mind boggles.
I put Helen out of commission for an entire day.
What's that? Egg,
couldn't
tuna,
even
ham,
take on
salami,
liquids.
Roast beef, pickled onions, cheese, lettuce, tomato,
I wonder
avocado.
if the sandwich maker, they walked out the back and went, you're not going to believe what this lovely lady has ordered.
5 ingredients about the outer limit, isn't it?
Oh,
gets a bit crazy beyond that.
Double cut roll at the best of times. It's a big meal.
Yeah. We should get the Boulevard Cafe people on at some point. What if they're noticing an uptick?
They probably had to close or they'd run out of fillings just by virtue of making that one roll for Helen.
Right.
Yeah, that's all we're out.
We need more rolls.
We can do butter and Vegemite from here on.
That's right.
Time to check traffic. Secure the last 2-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Thanks, Will. At Bedford Park, there's a smash on Sturt Road at Marion Road causing delays. In the Parklands, another collision. This one's causing delays inbound on Unley Road between Greenhill Road and South Terrace. Got the lane closed, Hampstead Road near Hargrove Street at Clearview, and we're quite busy Park Terrace, Hawker Street to 4th Streets. Cameras, North Street, Henley Beach and Valletta Road at Kidman Park. Sick of business paperwork? Employment Hero streamlines HR admin so you can work easy. Sign up by October 26 for up to 3 months free. Search Employment Hero. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone. Oceans without junk in them. No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
I actually live.
Rowie and Timmy G.
And I would throw in a carton of your favourite drink when you do that deal.
Or to sweeten the deal, Britain.
Yes?
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
There are some things you have to wait for. Honey, we're having a baby.
We are?
And some things you shouldn't wait for, like having your blinds installed. Some companies take months to install. Not Bob Burns Blinds. We'll do it in just 10 days. Our quality blinds are made right here in our local St Mary's factory, so we can have your blinds measured up and installed in no time. And that's a promise. Visit bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Now, David, serious question. We're about serious questions on this program. Do you sing in the shower?
I do, Will. Some days you just can't help it.
Well, EcoVantage have something to get anyone singing in the shower. Thanks to federal and state government incentives, EcoVantage could install your energy-efficient heat pump and save you thousands.
Saving money, saving the environment, and it could be for as little as no cost to you, which is no cost at all. You'd be silly not to. Electric hot water systems make up about 40% of our home power bills every year, but the excellent people at EcoVantage can pump this right down.
For little to no out-of-pocket cost, EcoVantage can swap your hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump that uses about 80% less electricity, better for the environment and your power bills.
So pump your power bills down with EcoVantage. Head to ecovantage.com.au to find out how you could take advantage of government incentives today. T's and C's apply.
Listen up. When we take control, we hold the key to ageing in our hands. Live Up is your new healthy ageing guide that can be accessed via phone, iPad or computer. Enjoy free expert advice, personalised support and community connections to help you age your way. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 after 8. We have gotten a stack of unsolicited texts suggesting we ask David Koch about Sound of Music.
Yeah.
I wasn't unfamiliar with his fandom of Sound of Music.
I didn't know either.
A lot of our listeners are. I will have to ask him about where he sits on the debate that's divided South Australia this morning. The candidate for Lord Mayor Rex Patrick has called for a probe into the $3.2 billion Women's and Children's Hospital on the Theban Police Barracks site, seeking to get some more and deeper assessment done on the heritage and parklands impact. He joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Rex, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So why do we need another inquiry, Rex, given that the bipartisan Parliamentary Public Works Committee has already looked at this and given it the tick?
Well, that committee is a government majority committee. It looks at predominantly building works. Now, this is a $3.2 billion program. It's a transformational program for health. It's transformational for the west of the city. We need to look at its plans, the costs, the schedule.
But no, didn't we have an election? Like, these guys have got a whopping great majority, the government, and they ran on a promise of building the new hospital, and now they're going to build it in line with the fact that the overwhelming majority of people voted for them. Why do we need to get bogged down in the weeds with some multi-party committee?
This is not something that necessarily stops anything. This is about proper due diligence. You might recall, I'm sure you absolutely recall, the RA, the huge cost blowouts associated with the RA, the huge schedule blowouts associated with the RA. These are things that parliaments normally look at. Not just cost and schedule. We need to look at, is the health outcome the best outcome? What happens to, for example, the women's and children's at North Adelaide? What's the plan there? Are they going to sell that to developers to fund the hospital? We also have to look at the parklands. In the assessment that was done by the government, where it looked at 7 sites, which I've read very, very carefully, there was no score in terms of the criteria on the parklands issue, on the heritage issues.
I think we've lost you, Rex. Well, I think we've lost Rex. Never mind. Thanks for that, Rex. Rex Patrick, Lord Mayor candidate for Adelaide.
Yeah, phone dropped out there 25 minutes after 8. Just looking, the Women's and Children's Hospital was first announced back in 2013.
So it has been kicking around for a while.
I think we've had a pretty good look at it, haven't we?
Yeah, I reckon that was enough for that interview anyway.
I'd love to hear what you think, folks. 8223 or you can text us on the Automasters text line. Do we need more city council involvement in major projects in South Australia? I guess is fundamentally the question that goes to the heart of this issue. I say no.
Put me down as a no too. How are they going with the greyness of the concrete in your top and mall?
I'm not sure too. And look, correct us if we're wrong. But I'm not sure too many people wake up of a morning and think, you know what we need is City Council need to have more input into stuff.
Yeah, because they got the runs on the board.
The state budget,
Yeah.
Maybe they should have a quick look at the state budget, just broadly. The health system, obviously. What do they think about policing, criminality?
Yes. I think most people are pretty happy with the way things are going on that score.
Yeah. I mean, I'd personally wind them back a little bit.
That's right.
Just focus on the bins.
Yes.
Now, let's go to Salisbury Heights. Gail's called in. Morning to you, Gail.
Good morning, Dave and Will. Just wanted to talk about my corgi. I believe it's Corgi Day today.
It
is
certainly
that right?
is. It is Corgi Day.
Right.
It is now.
Oh, it is now. I've got a corgi. He's 15. He's nearly 16, and I adopted him from the Animal Welfare League. He was around about 4 years old, and he's just been wonderful, and he's still going strong. And he's a beautiful dog. He's very intelligent, very loving, and hope he just continues to have a long life. But they're beautiful, beautiful dogs.
What's his
Very
name,
loyal.
Gail?
His name's Colby, as in Colby Cheese.
Colby Cheese, yeah, right.
Gail, we got sent a Facebook group from, I think it was Sue a little bit earlier, called Disapproving Corgis. Do you find Colby has a sort of a judgmental look to him at times?
Yes, he definitely has at times, especially when I go off to work. He looks at me. You know, like,
Yes.
So corgis can be very much so, and I think the Queen needed to keep her corgis in line for that reason.
Maybe she needed the corgis there to sort of, it's probably tough to get some honest feedback as the Queen.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Absolutely.
The corgis
yeah.
would have
be
given
surrounded
her,
by yes men.
Exactly, and the corgis looked at her sometimes just thinking, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Your Majesty.
What are you thinking?
You serious?
What are you thinking, Your Royal Highness?
But Gail, thank you. The huge popularity boost with corgis as a result of the Queen's passing.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
They are lovely looking dogs.
Lots of lovely
Good on you, Gail.
corgi-related stuff coming through.
It is Corgi Day.
Corgi Day. We've just declared it.
That's right.
5AA News is coming up. Behind Closed Doors is not too far away, and also the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program and Sound of Music expert, we're being told, David Koch, coming up.
What's on your bucket list? Writing a best-selling novel? Sailing around the Bahamas? Flying over the Antarctic? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't, ensuring you and your loved ones are taken care of. For wills and estate planning, contact Donlan Lawyers. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list.
Car, bus or truck window smashed, cracked, scratched or chipped? Call Complete Windscreens. For over 40 years, this family-owned SA company have given motorists a clear view of the road ahead with their 24-hour windscreen repair and replacement service. No one does it better than Hayden and Lindsay Dean at Complete Windscreens, which is the very reason you should tell your insurer you want Complete Windscreens on the job. You deserve the best, most reliable and cheapest. CompleteWindscreen.com.au.
Now, it's hard to believe, Will, but by urban bathrooms and kitchens, they might not necessarily be everybody's cup of tea.
Yes, that's right. There are a few people out there, people that don't care about sticky drawers, people that aren't driven mad by looking at something that doesn't quite line up, people that think millimetre perfect craftsmanship and service is garbage.
Yes.
Those sorts of people think by urban bathrooms and kitchens is not, it's not for them.
That's right, but if these things are important to you and you would like to live with a kitchen and a bathroom that you'll adore for many years to come because it's so darn good to look at, and so well designed and well made, then you should speak with Coxie and his incredible team at By Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
And remember, it's not just about the amazing result, it's about how you get there that really sets By Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens apart from everyone else. Byurban.com.au, they're Adelaide's home renovation experts.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. More and more South Australians are taking control of their energy bills with solar and battery storage. In fact, Australians are taking up battery storage in record numbers because they're sick of rising power bills and being locked into a system where someone else calls the shots. The other huge bonus of going with NRG Solar and battery storage is that you'll be protected by blackouts with an uninterrupted power supply. Take control. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Why haven't you heard of a grand utility vehicle until now? Introducing the 8-seat Kia Carnival. With a bold and modern SUV-inspired design, class-leading tech and advanced safety features. Don't compromise on space, comfort and style. We didn't just make an 8-seat family car. We made a grand utility vehicle. Book a test drive and experience the thrill of the Kia Carnival GUV.
Kia, movement that inspires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
A Holden has been clocked almost 90 k's over the speed limit in the hills. It happened at Strathalbyn late yesterday. The car was travelling at 188 in a 100 zone. A 33-year-old man was behind the wheel along with his wife and 3 young children. He's been reported and summoned to face court at a later date. There have been 2 separate break-ins at the same address in Kilkenny. 2 men in their 40s were located in a shipping container at the abandoned warehouse on Pinder Street just after midnight. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says they were called back to the area around 4:45.
Patrols responded to another activation at the same premises and they could see 3 men on CCTV. So patrols set up cordons for a second time and Rusty was called in again. This time he had 3 crooks to catch and managed to get all of them.
A 38, 43 and 63-year-old have been charged and will front court next month. Police don't believe the 2 incidents are linked. Defence projects worth billions of dollars will be closely monitored under a government crackdown to stop critical builds falling behind and going over budget. News Corp reports Australia has more than 24 major defence projects running an accumulative 97 years late. A new plan is expected to see defence spending rise to $80 billion a year by 2032. A grandfather of 5 who glued himself to a Picasso, prompting the National Gallery of Victoria to be evacuated yesterday, says he expects to be charged by police. Retired teacher Tony Gleeson was among 2 Extinction Rebellion protesters who performed the stunt in an attempt to gain worldwide media attention on the global climate emergency. He says they knew there was a glass screen over the work so it wouldn't be damaged, and it wasn't easy to evade security.
There was quite a bit of security there. We took that into account. We prepared long and hard for this. And, yeah, so it's not really about security, it's about what we aim to do.
A national monkeypox forum will be held tonight and the organisers are encouraging at-risk groups to tune in. 67,000 cases have been reported worldwide, 136 of those in Australia. Heath Payton from the Australian Federation of AIDS Organisations wants to equip people with the tools to stay safe.
This is a very effective vaccine. So the vaccine will help Australia to prevent a major outbreak. And what we want is for as many gay and bisexual men to go and get vaccinated.
Jury selection begins today in Los Angeles, where disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein is facing trial on rape and sexual assault charges. The 70-year-old is already serving a 23-year sentence on similar charges in New York. 5 women are expected to give evidence at the trial that could last around 8 weeks. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Jace Kemp.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with racing. And Bathurst 1000 winner Shane van Gisbergen has no intention of taking a break after clinching the supercar's biggest race. The championship leader is known for competing in rally events between rounds and says he's keen to get back behind the wheel.
When I don't drive for 2 or 3 weeks, you jump back in a car and everything's happening very fast. So, yeah, I feel like all this driving, it makes me better as a driver. And yes, there is some risk, especially with the rally stuff, but I think it makes me a lot better.
To cricket, and Australia has gone down to England by 8 runs in the T20 World Cup warm-up in Perth. David Warner smashed 73 runs from 44 balls.
Just trying to work out what was so brilliant about it, that's all.
That's brilliant batting. Pierces the gap. A welcome boundary for Australia. David Warner brings up his 50th.
To horse racing, and top jockey Tommy Berry has been forced to hand over his phone during an investigation into links between jockeys and professional punters. The Group 1 winning Hoop has a number of rides booked in the upcoming Spring Carnival. To soccer, and Arsenal has defeated Liverpool 3-2 to reclaim top spot of the EPL table, while lastly Novak Djokovic has defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets to win the Astana Open. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Bedford Park, residual delays from an earlier smash on Sturt Road at Marion Road. In the Parklands, a smash causing delays inbound on Unley Road between Greenhill Road and South Terrace. Got lane closed, Hampstead Road near Hargrove Street at Clearview, and we're busy Park Terrace, Hawker Street to 4th Street. Cameras today, you'll find one North Street, Henley Beach, and West Beach Road at West Beach. It's all about the seasoning. GYG's uniquely addictive Chipotle seasoning really sets their fries apart. Grab them at your local GYG today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's weather, 22 today and partly cloudy. A shower or two developing tomorrow, 24. Wednesday showers, 17. And Thursday showers, 16. Right now, it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 9. A few texts coming through on the Automasters text line. Playing a chat with Rex Patrick about calls for the City Council to have more say about the Women's and Children's Hospital and wanting a separate inquiry set up to examine the merits of it. John says Rex Patrick needs to go away. He did nothing to help South Australia as a senator. Now he wants to suck on the taxpayer teat again. Thank you, John. Christine Paralawi says council making decisions re Children's Hospital. Hell, no. How long did the old Lacornu site to make a decision? And Terry and Henley Beach says the City Council will be struggling to run a bath. They should just stick to getting the house in order. Yeah, I don't think we need to add the health system on to their remit, do we?
The comments that we're getting on the Automasters text line gel pretty much exactly with the comments on the Tysers article about it as well. Everyone's going, this city, seriously, like the squeaky wheelers at it again. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah. 22 minutes to 9. David Koch, the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, coming up. What won't be coming up is a presidential run from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He'd been long time sort of touted as the next Arnold Schwarzenegger-like Hollywood figure to make a run at the White House or politics.
The Rock.
The Rock. Long been suggested that he might be the next big name to have a crack, but he's ruled it out via his Instagram.
Is running for president off the table now?
It's off the table, yes. It is off the table. I will say this, because it requires the B side to this. I love our country and everyone in it. I also love being a daddy. And that's the most important thing to me, is being a daddy. Number one, especially during this time, this critical time in my daughter's lives, because I know what it was like to be on the road and be so busy that I was absent for a lot of years. And my first daughter's growing up in these critical age, at this critical time in her life. And that's what the presidency will do. So my number one priority is my daughters. Sure, CEO sounds great, but the number one thing I want to be is daddy. That's it.
He was going to be a Republican candidate, presumably. Can't imagine The Rock being a Democrat.
Oh, it's a good question, actually. I don't know where his political leanings lie.
Sort of action hero figure.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Schwarzenegger was
Republican.
Was a Republican.
A moderate Republican, an anti-Trump Republican.
That's right,
and a pro-climate change Republican.
There have been precedents in American history for movie stars to make it. Ronald Reagan, of course, president of the US, but movie star before that. They seem to have a greater affinity for it than we do. But I thought, by way of a thought experiment, and given we just happened to found some Cheese Fest tickets lying around. We've got tickets for you and 3 friends to Cheese Fest coming up this Friday, if you'd like to head along. We want you to nominate, if Australia had to pick a celebrity to be the next Prime Minister, who would you want it to be? Say you have to. We're just going America.
Do they have to be alive?
No.
So anyone from Australian history?
Yeah, a celebrity, though. Someone who's not traditionally associated with politics. You have to pick for them to be the next Prime Minister of Australia. Who would it be? 8223 0000. You can text us on the Automasters text line, and we'll give someone who makes a compelling case.
Hogs would be good. You get the tax rate down.
See, now that's a compelling case. 8223 0000. Yeah,
although he's lifelong denied any wrongdoing in his protracted battle with the tax office. So he's totally persecuted. So, in fairness, we should make that point. Cheese Fest,
Adelaide's favourite celebration of cheese and all things delicious, October 14 to 16. Otherwise, you can get tickets from cheesefest.com.au. I suppose Peter Garrett was as close as we probably have gotten to this sort of thing.
Yeah, singer.
In recent times. Jared on the Automasters text line says Hugh Jackman. Jason in Fulham, what do you say?
I go for Sam Newman. It would absolutely stir the pot internationally.
It's international. He'd make some headlines internationally, I suspect. Thank you, Jason.
That would be like having Donald Trump.
Jim in Surrey Downs, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Jim.
I think the ideal candidate would be Ray Martin.
Yeah.
Ray Martin. Well, a lot of people often mention Ray when the concept of the Australian president comes up. He's in the conversation.
Very genial and likeable man, Ray Martin.
Mark in Newton, good morning.
Good morning, lads. My pick would be Ned Kelly, because he would take from the rich and give to the poor, and possibly himself.
Yeah, I don't know if he would be a big fund the police guy. I'm not convinced.
He'd be a defund the police guy.
Yeah, I suspect he might be. Thank you, Mark. 82230000. Steve Irwin says someone on the Automasters text line.
Posthumous nominee.
Yes, which is within the rules,
Yep,
as
absolutely.
established. Yuri in Beaumont, good morning.
Up the Redlegs, red and blue again this year. It never stops, does it?
Sadly, no, Yuri.
Okay, this guy has got international experience already. He knows what it's all about. Norman Gunston.
Now we're talking. Norman Gunston. Thank you, Yuri.
Good. A little Aussie bleeder.
David, good morning.
Good morning. I reckon it'd have to be Leon, wouldn't it? He already knows them all, and he could keep them in line.
Yeah, that's true.
Prime Minister Byner.
Yes.
Mr. Byner.
Good morning.
Vinny in Grange, good morning.
George Negus.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's got that Aussie toughness, doesn't give up.
Yep.
Thank you, Vinny. Michael in Newton, good morning.
Good morning. Ed Maguire, I think. His kicking had herd sheep and sort of things. I think he'd be very good at it.
Thank you, Michael. John Farnham says Sharon on the Automasters text line, because he's the voice and people would listen to him. He is the voice.
I think he's on Channel 9 tonight. They've got an interview with Farnsy's two sons talking about his cancer battle.
Yeah.
And a current affair, yeah.
Wishing him all the best.
Absolutely.
2 in a row have said Dame Edna.
What about Sir Les?
Why not? They could alternate.
He sat on the Australian cheese board.
They could be
Remember that Michael Parkinson interview? Jeez. I reckon that's the funniest moments ever in Australian television. I reckon Sir Les going on the Michael Parkinson show.
Maybe then that could be the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. It could be Dame Edna and Les Patterson. Peter and Glenelg, good morning.
G'day there. I'd like to say, seriously, Dick Smith, or not so seriously, John Blake.
John Blake. I think
Blakey.
My fear with Blakey would be we would descend into a dictatorship quickly.
It'd be funny, though.
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think he'd dissolve any sort of democratic apparatus.
Blakey should do a
forthwith.
sketch about his own campaign.
I like it.
His own campaign.
I want to hear
Prime
it.
Minister.
He'd sound terrific.
And you could do it with the voices, too.
His address to the nation would have gravitas.
He could do question time on his own, just putting on different voices.
Bev in Appleford Park, good morning.
Good morning.
Who's yours, Bev?
I say Kate Blanchett. We haven't had any women spoken about today. I think she speaks very well and she holds herself very well.
Yes, she does.
Yeah,
Very
that's a
classy.
good nomination.
Very classy person is Kate Blanchett. Thank you, Bev. Who do we like for the Cheese Fest tickets?
Let's give it to Bev for doing a bit. After we were talking about Julie Gillard before, did a bit for gender equality there, getting Kate Blanchett
10 years on from the misogyny speech.
Let's give it a Bev.
Right, Bev. Cheese Fest tickets are coming your way. Although, my fear is we've missed a trick with some of the late texts on the Automasters text line. Mark says the guy off the Haggle Co ads. And
I saw one of those ads last night. I was thinking, is there an ad agency that makes them, or does the guy do them at home
I think he
on
just-
like some sort of garage band type app or something? And then
he says to the ad agency, "I've got this. Don't worry your pretty little heads about it."
It's such a great Adelaide thing, though, isn't it, that we've got ads like that on TV?
It's terrific. Mark at Findon, though, I think has the winner. He says Russell Coit. And I think Russell Coit would just be absolutely tremendous. All right, it is time for Fuel Watch this morning. Find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the free MyRA app from your app store today. Here are the cheap spots. And there's under $1.80 at a few, which is nice. $1.77.9 at the Ampole, Tapley's Hill Road, Fulham Gardens. $1.79.9 Coles Express, Fullerton Road, Rose Park. $1.74.9 United Main North Road, Paraka North. Diesel is expensive. $1.99.5 the United South Road is cheap at the moment, as is, how about this, $2.02.9 the BP Jetty Road at Largs Bay. So diesel has jumped up significantly. And if you want to get across the cheap fuel spots, just download the free My RAA app and you can do your own research over the course of the day, or tune in about this time each and every morning and we'll give you some tips on some places where it is cheapest. We're going to check traffic, and when we come back, the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, will join us. Secure the last 2-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Thanks, Will. At Monopara West, smash and car roller on the Northern Expressway. It's near Curtis Road causing delays. Bedford Park, residual delays there from an earlier smash. That's on Sturt Road at Marion Road. Got lane closed, Hampstead Road near Hargrave Street at Clearview. And we're getting busy at South Road as you're driving through Mile End. Look out for cameras, Main North Road, Blakeview and President Avenue at Andrews Farm. When you cover things up, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be SunSmart. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app today and protect yourself in 5 ways. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just send it, ace it.
It's not just your deliveries that ASIC Couriers look after. They're also proud supporters of the community. Chris, tell us more.
That's right, Rowie. At ASIC Couriers, we're proud supporters of over 16 sporting clubs. We also work with and support the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation to strive for a happy and positive workplace. By supporting us, you're also supporting the community.
Don't just send it, ace it.
Specsavers is the name you trust for experienced eye care. But did you know that we can also care for your hearing? Hi, I'm Tom, a dedicated audiology professional from Specsavers, and we're here to provide high-quality hearing care at a price you can afford. We take the time to understand your needs and help you choose from a range of latest technology hearing aids that fit your lifestyle and budget. So to see and hear should have gone to Specsavers. Visit specsavers.com.au/hearing.
Now, we love a South Australian success story, and we love this one in particular. Bob Burns Blinds. Now, the man himself, Bob Burns, that is, he made his first blind in 1954, and his family, we know this, we went there the other day, there's still manufacturing at St Mary's, where you and I were lucky enough to do a tour a few weeks ago.
That's right, and a new generation has joined the company. Russell and Belinda, along with highly qualified staff, certainly make a formidable team of passionate people.
And look, these guys do it all: exterior blinds, interior blinds, curtains, motorisation, security products, even shutters.
And because nearly everything is manufactured on-site, they can have your roller blinds measured up, made and installed in just 10 days.
That's right, you could be waiting up to 3 months with other companies, but because Bob Burns Blinds make everything here, you can have them in just 10 days. That's the Bob Burns 10-day promise. Visit bobburnsblinds.com.au.
At Anderson's Solicitors, we have a brand new look. But behind it, we're still the same faces. The same approachable, client-focused team, committed to helping find the right solution for you. With locations across the state, whether you need help with family law, commercial law, wills and estates, or personal injury claims, talk to Anderson's Solicitors today. Visit andersons.com.au or phone 8238 6666. That's 8238 6666.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 9, behind closed doors still to come. I've been saying the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, all morning, because we always do. But perhaps best in the context of some of the debates that have taken place on the show today, I should say, Sound of Music expert David Koch. Koch, you've been dobbed in by so many of our listeners as a Sound of Music aficionado.
Oh, yes, absolutely right. The Koch family has its own Sound of Music walking tour of Salzburg. Where you go to the cemetery, and usually I have to play Rolf, and then the kids and Lib hide behind the headstones, and I blow my whistle, and they go, "Germans are coming," and then have to flee the cemetery. So we've actually climbed the street, climbed the trees leading down to their house, like they did in their curtain material play clothes. We've rung the bell at the Abbey Gate and asked for Maria. Oh, no, we've done that.
You know your stuff, Koshy. That is granular detail about that film. It is a good sing-along movie, though, isn't it, for the family?
Oh, well, we have been to a sing-along Sound of Music version of it. where, not that we need it, they have all the words on the screen, and you dress up to go to it. I dressed up in a brown paper bag package bound up in string. So you go with in a big cardboard carton, stuff like that. So it's really good. Hard to sit down in the theatre, but it's the thought that's there.
Hey, Kosh, interested in your thoughts on both the politics and the economics of the Stage 3 tax cuts. It felt like the federal government was dipping a toe in the water of going back, and it seems that they weren't happy with how that was received, and they're going to go ahead. So interested in both how they've played it politically and whether you think economically it makes sense.
Okay, well, they're probably looking at the UK when they actually brought through their tax cuts plus subsidies for energy bills just a couple of weeks ago, which plunged the UK economy into crisis. Because when you're trying to reduce inflation, you take money out of the economy. So here was a government putting money back into the economy with tax cuts and subsidies for power bills. So the Bank of England, their central bank, their equivalent to our Reserve Bank, went, oh, that's pretty stupid. We'll have to put interest rates up higher than we wanted to take that money back out again. So, there is a precedent that at this time, tax cuts are a bad move from anyone around the world, and it will spark a financial crisis. The difference is that Australia's tax cuts won't come through until July 2024. So by then, hopefully, inflation will be down significantly, and I would suggest by then we would have started getting interest rate cuts because the economy would have slowed down so much. Europe and the US would have gone into economic recession, and it might be that part of the cycle to start pumping the economy back up again, in which case, the middle of 2024, it could come just at the right time. But my view is they don't need to make a decision right now. They could leave it at least for another year, just say, hey, this is the plan for the moment, but we will see how the global economy goes and the Australian economy. We do not want to spark a financial crisis in Australia, but they're so far into the future, we've got time to just sit back, wait, see how the land lies.
There's a broader political issue too for the Labor Party that was in there, Koshy. I mean, given the water that Labor took on, and deservedly so, when they hit us with a carbon tax, which Julia Gillard had said there'll be no carbon tax under a government I lead. John Howard hounded Paul Keating over the so-called LAW law tax cuts. I mean, it is an election promise, isn't it?
It is an election promise, but if it was an election promise in the UK as well, and if you're going to follow through and say, oh, it's an election promise, we don't care that the economy will go into a deep recession. We don't care that people will be out of work. We don't care there will be financial hardship for ordinary Brits or ordinary Australians. We're still going to go ahead with it. Well, I think that's sort of that is not the way to go. You've got to be responsible. The world's changed enormously, and it moves so quickly that you've got to have some flexibility and be able to pivot in the best interest of the economy and the best interest of people's jobs rather than political interest is just my view.
Dave, just before we let you go, I reckon every Port fan listening wants us to ask you this one quick question. Jason Horne-Francis, are you going to get him over the line?
I have no idea. You know what the dark art of list management and recruitment is like. I have no idea what these blokes do behind the scenes, so I will leave it up to the experts in Jason Cripps and Chris Davies.
All right, mate.
Fingers crossed, mate.
Good stuff. Thanks, Koshy. David Kosh from Sunrise on 7.
5 minutes to 9. Behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395 Adelaide's 5AA with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
Yes, here we we are, and good morning to you, Michael Keelan.
Yeah, hello, Angie. Gosh, a big windstorm we had the other night. How'd you get on?
Oh, I know. I was standing here in the FIVEAA kitchen, and the door was rattling.
Well, there was quite a bit of damage around the state to houses and power lines. It's very serious.
Oh, yes, there was. And what happened to me, because I've got a large pot plant in one of those plastic terracotta coloured pots I have painted it, and I had lavender in it, and it was blown over.
Really?
Yep.
Well, it was a big storm. Emergency services were required in quite a few areas.
Yes, I know, but my big problem, Michael, was that when my pot plant was blown over,
Yep.
you know the plate that goes under the pot plant?
Yeah.
Well, that's missing altogether. So it's been picked up by the wind and blown over the fence, and I have quite high fences.
Really? Yeah. Well, it was a big storm, and a lot of serious damage was done to a lot of infrastructure around Adelaide.
Yes, well, I think one of my neighbours must have my pot plant plate.
Right. Well, let's go to the Weather Bureau and find out what's in store for us. And on duty there is Tina Donaldson. Hello, Tina.
Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Angie.
Well, what's the weather going to be like coming up, Tina?
Well, conditions aren't too bad today, but with regards to your pot plant, Angie, I think that might have been because it was an easterly wind, which is unusual for South Australia.
Oh, so my pot plant didn't end up in your backyard, Tina?
No, I haven't seen it, Angie.
Right. So, Tina, that's why we had also a lot of serious tree damage around the state.
Yes, that's right, Mike. A lot of rain too, which is a contributing factor, yes.
Well, if you see my plate on your radar, Tina, can you let me know?
I will, Angie, yes. If I see a plate, I'll let you know.
Right. So, do we need to be on alert, Tina, for any more of this very serious weather?
Well, today it'll be a lot better, Michael, but still a few light showers in the southeast, but they should clear up, and light to moderate flying plates with a 30% chance of more tipping pot plants.
Oh, not my pot plants, Tina.
Right. I don't think you two are taking this all that seriously.
2 to 9 this year, together with Adelaide Exposed Concrete, FIVEAA are hitting the fairways for the first ever All-Star Golf Day, featuring your favourite FIVEAA presenters and some sporting superstars. It will be an unmissable day out. Monday, 31st of October, Glenelg Golf Club. Hopefully the weather will be good. What is it, 21 days away?
Yeah.
By then we'll be into the, sort of the teeth of the good stuff, won't we? The best news is you could be joining us. All you need to do is head to fiveaa.com.au and register your details. Then we could be calling you this Friday as one of our lucky winners. The package includes golf for 4 people. You get merch, you get food and beverages, you get...
There's a dinner after.
Exactly right. There are
It's going
guest
to be
speakers.
a full day.
Rowie and Timmy G will be doing their thing live. You get to see it all. So make sure you book your group now at fiveaa.com.au. All thanks to the great people at Adelaide Exposed Concrete for a stunning exposed aggregate driveway called Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground all year round.
You won't be there, will you? Be on paternity leave?
Quite possibly, yeah. Unless there's a real blowout in the whole in the nearest to the pin that we started
absolutely.
playing this morning. Hey, Leon Viner is coming up, nominated for Prime Minister on the program in the last 15 minutes. He's coming up next, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood,